Welcome everybody back again for a nice film club with a little bit of a British. I think this is our first real British directed British film with a bit of not my pick, Sandy's pick in Trainspotting. But before we go there, how you guys been?
Jay, are you awake? Are you hanging in
Sorry,
there?
Mike's muted. I'm good.
No, I was saying that overall, just with as busy
Yeah,
as
no,
you've
I'm
been.
good. Things have been good on my end. Baby Nerd Takes is growing and doing well, and Mama Nerd Takes is also doing well, so no complaints here.
Yay, glad to hear that. And I'm in between a couple of severe thunderstorms right now, so I'm doing well, but in the event that I disappear, these two gentlemen will just continue and carry on until I can find my way back in if I lose internet right now. But after that, it should be really nice weather here on the East Coast.
But yes, hello chat. I can see all the normies in here. But I hope you did. I hope you did your homework and you choose life or something
Choose
else.
life.
Maybe that's it. But Sandy, Trainspotting. This is your pick. Go on. Why Trainspotting?
Why
Because
Trainspotting?
it's very because it's. I would say it came. I think it was a British release first, and then it got the numbers, and
Yes.
then of course it came over, and then it got an international. Yeah, it did really well, but I don't think this would be an American pick. Let's say that it would have been my
No,
pick.
I don't think so. And I mean, part of it was the um I've always been an Anglophile. This film came out when I was in college, right at the age depicted in this film. I liked everything British. I liked literature. I did not read the book though until just now. I read the book this past week. I think the word gritty is one that I've used quite frequently. I tend to like those real life gritty films. This one was so different. The mix of music, cinematography, the acting, these characters. I don't know. It certainly was impactful to me. And we'll talk about, we'll dig into each of those reasons as well. For me, I think it was easier to consume this film because I was a big Anglophile. I watched all the British television shows, and so the accents didn't bother me. I was acclimated to the accents, but a lot of Americans had a huge problem with the accents and
That
dialogue.
really? Because I'm
Yeah.
guessing for the accent for I don't know, Jay, maybe you did, but because it's Edinburgh, not Glasgow. I think if they did the Glasgow accent, that would be. But it's very tone. Like a lot of them, you can tell they're doing the posh Scot, I suppose, like that. It's not, it's not Glaswegian, of course, like that, and it's not from Edinburgh. It is a very we're gonna do it so people understand what we said. Yeah, of course, Spud. He has his moments when you can't understand a word.
He's the only one I really had spots of trouble with.
But I think that's supposed to be endearing to his character.
Yeah, they even mentioned
a
it,
comedy.
I think, in a line. Even Ewan McGregor's character at some point is like, if you can even understand what he's saying at some point, kind of passing thing. So I think they lean into it with his character a bit because he was the only one that I really had issue with, and even that was just kind of sometimes.
Yeah.
Now the poster you're showing here, there were 2 or 3 different posters, and I think that we would call all of them iconic posters that have been duplicated and replicated and spoofed on. Even The Simpsons has a scene with Lisa and Bart. I don't think they've robbed a candy shop or anything, but they're running through the town, down the stairs, across the street, and run into a car, just like the I'm going to keep using the word iconic opening scene with, Iggy Pop, Lust for Life playing, Ewan McGregor running as fast as he can, evading the coppers and, running into the car and
If you're gonna
laugh.
do it, you have to properly do it the Scottish way. I think they call it the filth. I think a lot.
The
They like to
filth. Okay, I can't. I will. I will.
Yes, that's to say, like
Not
there
just
was a
embarrass
lot.
myself, but
There
insult
was a
the
lot
Scots.
of.
I do that.
I'm guessing if you don't know, if you've never been to Scotland, they do certain twangs, but they have a lot of British isms, I suppose, like that, like sayings in this. Yeah, like that. Lot of you're gonna have to swear through this because this is the movie. Lots of
Yeah.
wanker, like,
Mhm.
but they have their sayings in this, but it's not very. They have the odd Scottish bit, but not very. It's very It's for a British market, so everybody. It's like everybody in the aisle can
Okay.
understand what they're saying. It's not. It's not Scottish. It's there's a couple of phrases, but not much. And I've completely forgotten. I really thought it was a kind of downed into a Scottish kind of movie, but it's not. It's a British movie.
Well, that's good to know because on this side of the pond, for many people, it all gets smushed together, unfortunately. I
Mm.
mean, I think some folks here wouldn't really know the difference between British isms and British accents and Scottish or Irish. So I think it probably was challenging. But if you can, and what's great about the writing here, you don't have to understand every word, although on a second or third watch, if you're listening to those words, it's written beautifully, poetically. Even this horrible language that they're using, there's a rhythm to it, though. You don't have to understand every word. You understand through the actors' expressions exactly what they're getting across. And so you don't, kind of don't have to, understand, cut through those accents, which are beautiful accents, um, to understand what you're saying. I think this film also, um, there is a we've talked about a few films like Saturday Night Fever and other films where you don't like any of the characters. I don't like any of these characters, but in this film, that's okay. It's okay because there's it's just telling a story. It's telling a real story. I don't think the writer is trying to get you to like these characters, although you're cheering for them at different places to get out of the lifestyle that they've chosen. But it's okay that you don't like them. Um, so in the scene, back to the opening scene, um, the book uh, is if I were to say is probably, although it's I don't know, I think it was a 30-hour read. So it's a pretty chunky book. It probably has 12 more stories in the book. The book is written from the perspective of different characters, which made it difficult to do by an audiobook, by the way. I should have gotten the actual book because it was hard to know when the characters were shifting and telling the story. But the book uh, starts out a little bit before this, and you do get a little bit of the background of the characters, which you don't get until T2, the sequel. So as we talk about this film, I may touch a little bit on the sequel because I feel like the sequel, together with Trainspotting, is the complete story, even though there's 20 years between the two films. But I think both together really tell the story. By the way these they're kids, by the way these folks are dressed, by their faces, by the makeup that they have around their eyes, that this is about drugs. You know it right away. I think by the way they look. They're skinny. Um, this is, this is the time being depicted. There's a lot of drug use. So you know what this is about. They're stealing stuff to fuel their habit. And they don't care. They don't care. And he's nearly killed by a car. This is Mark Renton, Rent Boy. He doesn't care. He
I do
laughs.
like how they quickly introduce all the characters. I think this is a clever
I
way
do
with
too.
the footballers like that, because like this is of course, the midway through the movie. Then, of course, this is the bit we see later on. So, yeah, I think it's quite clever that, we
Is it
see, of course, when we see him at just having a,
kind of
house
going through all the
movie.
characters? And is it fair to kind of say that I feel like that's a very, or maybe not very common, but a thing you see a lot in British film where they kind of introduce characters in that quick, efficient, upbeat way? It just gives me a feel of like Snatch and movies like that where you're kind of meeting everybody at these rapid pace with this kind of cool, smooth vibe to it. I've always felt like that's something I see in British film, but maybe that just happens to be in some of the few that I've seen.
Yeah.
It could
I
be.
like it though. I think it's a stylish, efficient way to just introduce characters. So I've always been a fan of it.
Yeah, just done. There we go. No, you
Yeah,
don't
like
need to.
no
This is who they are.
hustle bustle. Like this is it.
Yeah.
These are your players. This is the scene. Like let's get to it. I always appreciated
Well, it's
that.
even as like because you got the like the monologue and all
they-
that, but
I
it's
feel
just
like
like
they
that.
did it in
just
the Hugh
easy.
Grant one we watched. What was the what was that movie? The Weddings and a Funeral.
Four
Didn't they do
Weddings
it
and a
Yeah.
kind of quickly establish them in that as well? In that
Yeah,
kind
they
of
do. Yeah.
manner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
because
maybe
it's
just
in the
random
first
stuff.
wedding, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a
Sorry,
style.
that's my little side point. I just like that
No,
style.
I like
maybe
that.
it was stylized choice that they did probably 90s because that's the 90s.
Oh
movie,
yeah,
isn't
maybe it was a
Yeah.
'90s thing. Yeah, that could be
Yeah.
it. That could be it.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, they get the straight away. I like because they do. Yeah, how we introduce them, five-a-side football. I think it's
And
quite
but look
good
at
as
them.
well.
They're misfits in dirty clothes that don't match, and they're playing
Ooh,
against.
You can't say that. That's not dirty clothes. That's a football kit. That's Hibs.
No, but
That's a
compared
Hibs.
to their opponents, compared to their opponents who are in the matching kits, you know, these guys just look like a mess. And of course, Spud misses the easy save, and but they're just.
But we do get introduced. Let's go through them. Stick Boy, because we got Renton and Rent Boy. They don't really go into the Rent Boy bit, so I'm guessing in the book they do.
Oh my God, in the book, they all have so many different nicknames. The same
okay.
character has like 40 different nicknames, depending
so
on
it
who's
gets really
calling
confusing.
you. One's calling him Renton, Rent Boy, Simon, Sick Boy, Williamson. He's got like 5 of them. I was losing track, but they all have a different nickname for each other. So it is.
I'm just going to say, Abe's, I think, said the most sensible thing he's ever said ever.
Oh, I thought you were going to pick the one ahead of it, and I was going to go bleh. No offense to the Scottish, but I wouldn't want to haggis anything. No, thank you.
Well, not a haggis kebab. That's why I put it in there. Oh, that's got to be. That's
Have you had haggis, James?
I've smelt it. I refused to eat it once like that in the military. Somebody cooked it up, and I was like, no, the smell from it was awful. It was stuffed in a sheep's stomach, and it's just boiled to hell. No, not having it.
I'd rather starve.
Yeah, it was one of the things you're like, you get nearer to the smell, and you like food should not get worse as it gets there.
It's not a good sign.
No.
Abe, we respect your culinary choices there. We just choose not to agree. Okay.
He's not even Scottish. How does he like it? He's northwest. So like that's complete. You wouldn't get haggis. If you're eating haggis, that's not haggis.
I'm good on real haggis or fake. Yeah. I'm all set.
But yeah, you get like Begbie.
And then Begbie taking a cheap shot on someone, of course.
Yeah. And then you get Superman.
Yeah.
I kept thinking Peter Crouch when I saw him here on the
oh really?
just because just so tall and skinny and lanky.
And then of course the Tommy as well. But yeah, I've just showed that one. Yeah, they're in their kit. Yeah, it's a thing. But you get these 5-a-side matches, one team full kit and the other one not. But yeah, it's good though. It's a very easy. These are the players. Mm-hmm. These are the your main characters. Easy, do a football 5-a-side match easily,
and
then
it's just so random, but it just goes so smooth with the music, the editing. It's a really fun way to kind of start off what ends up not being a fun movie.
Yeah, but I did this bit because this is what you get throughout this movie, and I think Sandy probably will enlighten us more on the stylization of the cinematography. But it's the editing of like these scenes. If like the ball smacks him in the face, and then he goes straight into on the floor. I can't show the rest, but we know where he is. He's in a drug den. You know, he's literally yeah. So I love what the things, Mother Superiors.
Mother
Yeah,
Superior.
Mother
yeah. But,
Superiors, this is referring to the gentleman
mhm,
who sells the wares, and Mother Superior refers to him because of the length of his habit, not a nun's
yeah.
habit, but a drug habit.
And I couldn't get many pictures of him because he's
Yeah,
always
there's
at the
just
beginning
about
of it.
nothing.
He's always got something in his hand. Let's say that for you.
Yep.
Or he's in a certain spot in the kitchen doing a certain thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
really not
exactly.
much you can do with
There
his
was this. I
pictures.
went, oh, that's okay. And then I was like, oh, look what he's got in his other hand. Like that. I was like, damn it. Like that. So
No.
there be scenes that might be clips that will be missed for me. But yeah, but instantly we get into a den. We get of course, we
Baby
get the
Dawn.
baby in there left alone. And then it kind of, the shift of the thing into the other room. They're all there. They're cooking up. I think the easy YouTube term is. So they're having a cook, of course, and I think it's the mums, like they're doing it, but it's the mums first try. It seems like
It seems at the very least early in her, because like to leave your baby crawling around like that, I have to assume you've at least tried it and like you're already kind of, you know, at the power and mercy of it, or however you want to put it. I'm trying to put it as politically correct on YouTube as I can here. So I'm assuming it's early on in her career of this.
And
yeah,
if we could see the entire scene, which we won't here, as the camera pans over through the apartment, and the room that baby Dawn is in is a bright green. It's a verdant, very greeny green, an outdoorsy green. And as the camera shifts over to the other occupants who are there to satisfy their habit, that room is a reddish brown. And you'll see these two colors juxtaposed against each other throughout this entire film, even in places you wouldn't expect, even in the pub at one scene where the boys are with some of their parents after a certain um, process in a courtroom. In the pub, the lights are alternating red and green in the little sconces on the wall, but we'll see this throughout the film. You're seeing here, you're not sure. I truly think, like the first time I saw this film, because it opens up with them playing football, you immediately know, well, they have to be friends, right? This is a group of friends. They like each other. But then very quickly, you begin to question, well, what do they mean by friendship? Like when this habit is all consuming, when you see how they treat each other, when you see certain um, betrayals happening, the film really makes you think about these people who, again, you don't like these people, but you kind of wonder, do they like each other or do they need each other because they don't have anyone else? Who
it's
else would
need.
be
It is a need, isn't it?
Yeah,
It
who
is,
else would
I
be
think.
friends with
Yeah,
these rejects?
because I think the only two that probably are friends, like what I go into like things like, is probably Tommy and Begbie, because Tommy knows him uh back in the day, so they probably but Begbie is perceived older in the course of the movie, and he's there because nobody's age likes him, so he's hanging out with younger kids, like younger, not younger
Yeah.
kids, but younger, like, you know, if he's like in his like early 30s, these guys are like, what, Retton is what, 25, 26 in this probably, and
20
like they're,
something, yeah.
Yeah, with
yeah, so
even I would have pegged like 22, 23. Looks really
yeah,
young.
maybe, so like, yeah, so even Begsby is, yeah, he's hanging out because nobody likes him and he can bully these people. And Tommy puts up for him because he knows him, and then he kind of knows everybody else by association. But these guys are like, yeah, I just don't want to get high alone. And yeah,
Yeah.
if you got a 20 and I've got a score, we can put it together, you know, and then we can do it, you know, things like, they're not, you know, they're all on benefits, they're all on the, as they say later, on the gyro.
So I
It's
had never
literally,
heard
yeah,
of that before. I had heard on the dole before, but I had not heard on the gyro. So that was new. That was new
exactly
terminology.
the same. The terminology has just changed. Exactly the same thing. But yeah, it's take the money. Who's got? Yeah, if you can put a couple of pence together, to things that you can see that later with the with them stealing to just for the next hit could get
Yep.
their habit, like that. If it's stealing what from a nursing home, and it's just
Oh
they're not
yeah.
friends. They're not friends. They're just like,
Eh,
who's got the money for the next one? That's it. That's it. And you can tell that by even when Renton steals from his mum. They're just they're just not nice. They're just not nice. And it's
they're
just
not nice.
yeah.
And several of them live with their parents, and
Mm,
it's like, why did like do the parents let this happen? Like what they just it's like they've turned a blind eye. It's like
mm.
the parents are okay with it. They haven't thrown them out except you know, Begbie, you mentioned, mentioning
I think
him.
it's different. Like I suppose, like this in this time, it got a lot of the movie got praise and a lot of backlash in the
Yeah.
UK. One because it showed, and I think Danny Boyle did it right. Director, who doesn't know, did it correctly. Is kind of showing the human trait of drugs in Scotland at the
Mhm.
time because it was getting really, really bad because
Mm.
this period of time was probably the changeover to Tony Blair from the Tories, but the Tories had kind of decimated the working man's job. So the dads probably have lost their jobs very
Mhm.
much so in Glasgow. You had, of course, the divide of Edinburgh and Glasgow and all that, but it was a time where it was the jobs aren't there. Scotland jobs aren't there, and they
Mm.
like everybody who went to university then just came down south, and that is everybody just went into London. That's it. That's where the jobs are. At this point in time, you go to London. You don't go Manchester. You don't go anywhere else. You go to London to get a job. So everybody who's got anything smarts, so the everything left. So he wanted to portray, I know that the drug culture in things. Now, do you say he glamorized it a little bit too much? That's up to debate. But I think
Yeah.
he put a spotlight onto it at least. So at least people then kind of, oh, this is going on. I say like as anywhere else, county to county, you're not going to know what's happening in things. I think it was probably worse in Glasgow than
Mhm.
Edinburgh, and probably like Inverness and all that. Even parts of like Peterhead, Edinburgh. I'm sorry, Aberdeen, probably worse. But that it just got caught up, and it was an easy drug to get in because all the offshore oil rigs, boats off the offshore oil rigs, they get the boats, helicopters take them home.
Mm.
Easy job, and that's how he
Mhm.
got over. So yeah, but I think it just opened everybody's eyes. I think a little bit, but yeah, it's otherwise from that, I don't know how that came across. Probably, like there's you get those drug, I suppose, movies, don't you? Like he's really like heavy on the drugs, but you don't know if it's the plight of the city or a plight in general. And I think this is
Yeah.
just trying to show the bubbles in Scotland, kind of where it was hard. Now these are small bubbles. These are really low working class people. This isn't across the whole whole of the nation. This is really council estate people who are like
Yeah.
month to month, week to week, earning their money. You put you pay for your electric on a meter card, and that's how you go. So it's and they're most of the people's their way of life was work 14 hours, 16 hours a day, then go to your local pub, start again. And that's it. And the
Mhm.
kids, some of them not educated, couldn't go to university. What do I do? Because I don't want to be like my mum and dad.
No. But I think
Here's the relief.
when you see how gritty and realistic and really horrifying in parts that this film is, I don't think it glorifies drugs at all. I think it shows it as it is, and yeah, the music's awesome, and for some reason you do kind of root for these characters, but the realism it shows is very off-putting to say the least. And so I don't think there's glamorization here
Mm.
at all for me. Now for others, depends on how you're looking at the film. But even in this shot here, you know, Spud's just laying on the floor, but the color palette, the the green pillowcase and the yellow shirt and the orange and the red all coming together. I I'm just struck. You could push pause at any point during this film, and it is the,
Mm.
the definition of every frame a portrait, right? What you're trying to capture if you're into cinematography and you want to create a work of art, not just the colors, but the blocking and the angles really do come together and are so interesting. Probably on a third or fourth watch, where you can really sink into that, because the first time you're just struck by the subject matter and kind of shocked by the subject matter. But as you watch it over and over again, look for those little things, look for the color palettes, and look for, not in your face symbolism, which I think is, kind of silly and on the nose, but look for the subtle symbolism in different places, in different scenes and settings in this film. I feel like I have to say it now because you've said Edinburgh and Glasgow several times. Um, the film is set in Edinburgh, but it was filmed
Yeah, I saw that.
primarily in Glasgow. So just to, some of the,
Yeah, I think it was the
obviously,
high streets and the iconic
yeah.
moments like that. So it was actually funny, and like probably Abe in chat will know. It was funny, like seeing 90s stores that no longer exist. Like they went past like a Menzies, and I was like, oh, it no longer exists anymore. You cannot get those. So when
Oh,
they were
that's
running,
fun.
it was quite funny. Like, oh, that no longer exists. That's closed down. Like in the 2000s, it was quite funny that. But yeah,
Oh, that's always fun.
yeah. But, but yeah, so we get. I can't remember her name. What's her name?
I think this is Leslie.
Leslie.
No,
So,
I
is
thought
it?
Leslie was Tommy's
Oh,
girlfriend.
no,
This
this
one, I don't
is,
know. I'm actually confused now
let me is this
But yeah,
Allison?
because I thought it was Tommy and Leslie Volume One
yes, it is. Yeah,
as
Lizzie,
the
is it?
tape.
Oh, I've
Lizzie.
got.
This is
Yeah,
Lizzie.
Izzy.
Lizzie. Okay,
No,
that's it.
Lizzie. No, Liz. Izzy. No, that's Tommy's.
Oh,
I'm
heck.
sure it is. I'm
Oh,
sure
is
it's
All right,
Tommy
let
Tommy's.
me go
Hold it.
back
Lizzie?
Hold
to
it.
the
Now I'm
Hold it.
confused.
IMDb.
Hold
I
it.
remember that the tape said like Tommy and Lizzie or
Yeah, I'm
Leslie
just gonna
Volume One. Now I
quickly.
forget.
Where's the tape? Where's the tape? Here we go.
It is
There you go.
Lizzie. Gotcha. Okay,
That's
fair
the
enough.
tape. That's Tommy's. Then there we go. Spoilers. I'm going to show that later. But yeah, so she gets a fix, and yeah, the kids now kind of come in, having a look, like what's going on, just left in the room.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
With the
it's a sad
green.
part.
It
Mm.
is sad because it just kind of cuts you deep because it's one of
Yeah,
those things where like you want to think like, oh, it's just a movie trying to make a point or like trying to be a little over the top, but
Mm.
unfortunately that's probably a far too common of a circumstance, which is just heartbreaking.
Sadly,
yeah, yes,
very
100%.
sadly.
Yeah, and yeah. And of
And
course, then they're all getting there. Of course, like this scene, like the opening bit of the scene is it's just showing they're all doing it, except for then you have it quickly divides the two, I suppose, two friends groups, really small groups. So everybody's getting, everybody's thing. But then you get introduced to Bixby, who's kind of talking to Tommy at Paul. I think it's Paul. They're playing, not snooker. Um, is like you don't put that stuff inside you, idiots. Like that.
don't put
Um,
that poison in you. And in front of
yeah,
him, he's got a shot, a beer, and 10 packs
yeah,
of cigarettes. So come
yeah.
on, dude. You're just poisoning yourself a little
Yeah.
differently.
And they're just, they're kind of, they're mates with them. I don't know how, like I'm saying, this is Bixby being mates with them because he needs somebody to manipulate. Because, they're,
Well,
we'll
Tommy's not
find out
doing drugs
later. Yeah.
either. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Tommy's friends with Bixby. Bixby's got this lot that he can string along. Why? Because he's lonely. Nobody's his friend. You can easily tell that he's somebody you don't want in you in a circle. Let's say that. But of course,
I don't want him
these
near
people
any
don't go.
circle.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now I'm going to ask you a question when it comes to it, because like Jade actually asked, she was like, "I wonder if Americans do." So I'll ask. But yeah, so yeah, we get that. Of course, we get a back and forth with the family, like his
Now I'm
family.
noticing all the green and red, even her hair, the green hair, green shirt, red
Green
hair.
dress,
Yeah,
red hair. Hmm.
yeah.
I didn't even catch that.
No, I didn't catch it. So yeah, it's quite when
And
you're like, damn.
also, what you'll notice is there are scenes where characters and settings in the background is to kind of portray the boring, mundane part of life. So when you're at his home, the wallpaper is boring and drab. And when you're at other scenes, it's very boring and drab. In the book, there are so many other little short vignettes to set up the characters. And I don't want to compare it to James Joyce because I I really don't get James Joyce. Ulysses like made my head hurt. But that's what this feels like, but written in a good way. So not in the James Joyce way, but in the Irvin Welsh is the writer of Trainspotting. And he wrote all these they're all short little scenes about each of the characters, kind of like a little bit like the stream of consciousness in Ulysses. But what you get from that and what you get in this scene here is what a drab home. What a humdrum drab home he lives in. How
Well,
much he must look for excitement elsewhere, and the drugs help him to escape. That ho-hum life.
now I'm just going to jump forward because I find this fascinating. We're going to jump forward a bit, but something Daryl just put in chat. If that is absolutely true, that was a bad mistake.
Well, Kelly
Kelly
MacDonald, who
MacDonald,
we've all seen
Dave.
in
Yeah,
No Country for
but
Old
you're going to
Men.
go invite your mother and your brother.
No.
Okay, mum, can you be here because I need support? It's my first nude scene. I understand. Do you invite your brother?
No.
No.
No, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially
No.
the scene is like, yeah, it's that's Daryl, always fascinating, as always. But yeah. But so we get after
This
this
gentleman
we
here, however, the dad.
the dad, yeah.
The dad is James Cosmo. Does he look familiar to anyone from
He's
other?
in everything
He's
British and about
in everything.
everything. He's been like a staple on British TV for ages.
He's in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
He is one of the Mormonts in Game of Thrones. He's in but you're right. He's in like everything. I thought for a minute, just because of the way he looks, I thought for a second and a half that he was the dad in Four Weddings and a Funeral, the dad of Gareth who passes away. But that
Oh no,
actor
he's
is
not
way
here.
too old. But he has the same facial features. But this actor was in the film The Highlander. This actor was in Braveheart. I have to say it.
Sorry, we
but
can say that Highlander's not here at the moment.
But when you see him, you instantly recognize him, not necessarily for notable roles, except for Game of Thrones, but like you really do. You're like, oh, I
Yeah.
know that guy. I know that guy. He's in a lot of stuff.
But yeah, so we get back, like it's a bit back and forth. Like this is Renton kind of telling, like he's done like the story, whilst then the other lot kind of break in. If it's a sick boy, you know, the only one you don't really hear through in this is Spud, I suppose.
No, not.
And then of course, then he goes up, and I couldn't really show except for this picture is when Renton goes, "That's it, I've had enough. I'm giving it up." And that's it. So he's next scenes are like he's preparing to kick the habit. So what you need is what is it? Some soup to be eaten cold. Loads of mouthwash. Was it hand soap and some pornography? That's how you do it. Like, and he puts tin opener. But of course, at that point, he balls like he balls himself up, and then of course, gets the buckets. Was it one for urine, one for feces, and one for vomiting? Wasn't it, or something like that? Wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, 3
something
buckets.
like that. Yeah, 3 buckets. But of course, he takes his mum's Valium. Now I can't remember if, like, I don't like people in the UK. I don't think Valium is a thing you can get over here. That's an American drug, isn't it? I don't think you can get it over here now, unless it was in the 90s. And I'm sure it's gone. Yeah, because he says, "Oh, I've taken my mum's."
Oh, we definitely have it here.
Valium.
Yeah, we definitely have
I'm
it here.
sure it's not. I'm sure it's not a thing anymore. I think they banned it like that. If it was a thing, but I think this is. Yeah, it was a. I was like, that's a weird thing because I've never heard anybody said I'm on Valium in the UK ever, unless it was about, and then they kind of took it away. So I didn't know if that was put in there because international market, you know, you're going to know what a Valium is instead of saying an actual antidepressant drug or something, you know. So yeah, he goes in that. Of course, then he's doing about one more hit, just one more time. Yeah. So he smashes down, of course, He's
It
barricade.
doesn't last a minute. It just
No, it
doesn't last
doesn't.
a
It's not.
minute.
No,
It's like,
yeah.
okay, boom.
And then, of course, gives him a phone. I couldn't really show the rest of it because the guy had a lot of stuff on the ground. But he goes to, I can't remember the guy's name.
Mikey. And guess who
Mikey.
that is?
Who?
Mikey is Irvin Welsh, the writer of the book.
Ah.
No kidding.
Yep. So that's his little cameo in the film.
Yeah.
He has a few lines here explaining what it is that he's given him.
He kind of plays the role pretty well for
Yeah.
a non-actor.
Yeah, that's good. But yeah, so he gets what does he get? He doesn't get. He gets a slow release. So he gets a suppository. He gets annoyed that he has to go, but then he quickly. Now this is where again Danny Boyle does it good. He gives the parity of their lifestyle, and then humor, because he quickly explains being on heroin makes you constipated, but the Valium does the opposite.
Releases.
and he has a gurgle. So yeah, and then
Before you go off that photo, though, the
colors of the greens and the browns and
the windows, each set of windows, each apartment has different curtains. And again, just the color palette of all the different, it's just a scene. Here's a guy, whose stomach is about to explode. And yet it's kind of beautifully set in a weird way. So, so I appreciate the care taken to make these scenes very, visually intriguing, as well as, what's going on in the story.
Hey there, Ross. But yeah, it's good. I think he's done it well. But yeah, I didn't notice that. I'm gonna have to probably rewatch it to see
everyone rewatch it and look at the setting. Don't try to focus away from the characters and just look at the scenery and the set and the blocking, how people are staged. There are a couple of scenes I'll point out a little bit later that are, just kind of really interesting. If you were to just snap photos along the way, you'd get beautifully designed photographic, I don't know what you call it, photographic engineering, architecture, whatever. But they're meticulously planned. I can't imagine what would be like to work with Danny Boyle. He must be incessant.
Because we're probably 10, 15 minutes in the film at the moment. And of course we get him running into the bookies, runs in, everybody's looking at him, goes to the toilet. And then we get to the worst toilets in Scotland. And but you think about this, we go into it, is a very iconic scene, but the running scene at the start, and there are other clip bits that are just, you can show that 10 seconds of that movie, and they're very iconic. There's loads of very very culture iconic, pop culture iconic parts of this, even though it's not that type of movie, but Danny Boyle shot it in a way that made it that's iconic. And that's, I think, that's because how can you get from iconic to a dirty, disgusting toilet in the middle of Edinburgh, being iconic? And 100% they've up the dirt level. Let's say
there cannot possibly. I don't want to even venture to guess.
I don't know. The early what's this? This is what released 96. So let's say it was written. When was the book written? Let's start to find out. When was the book?
95. I think 95. So again, another book
turnaround.
Very quickly. Oh, it was a huge. Let me pull it up here. It was an incredibly huge success. Let's see. Oh, of course, because I've got the audiobook, it's giving me the audiobook date, but it was just a year or two prior. It was
so health and safety. It's like that, but I've not been horrible. guys who in the British, like anybody has ever, British military people are probably in there. You always get stopped off at somewhere that's bad, and there's one
Ugh.
pub, and then you go in, you're like, oh no, I'm gonna hold on to it like that because there are
Yeah.
some bad ones, but yeah, this is where he's uncontrollable, and yay, he
Blessed
has
relief.
unfortunately, he quickly realizes with his release, he's lost these 2 batch of like drugs that were
His tablets have
yes.
also evacuated. And, this is one of those scenes that shows the absolute obsession and addiction of drug addicts, sadly, that you'll do anything to keep that high, and he's gotta go in after those
And
2
I think
capsules.
I think it's clever how I'm guessing in the book it's portrayed differently, but how this is called cinematography, how they got it, and I've actually seen like the behind the scene how they actually did this was really clever.
Oh, cool.
Like to actually make it work. But I think this is like the book I'm guessing is different, but Danny Boyle, how he shot this is so clever. Is like because I'm guessing is in the book, it's just
Yeah.
hands in.
Well, it's in the book, he's rummaging, he's delirious, but the scene of the kinda swimming happily under the water is not
Yeah.
it's not the same in the book, and you're right, Danny Boyle did it amazingly,
Yeah, you need.
absolutely amazing.
I think you do need that because
Yeah.
if you're just rummaging, it's a bit that. But how this is, it's quite funny that the dirty, the toilet scene, and then him doing this of like, and his relief, he's
Mhm.
fine, he's found him. There's like a sea mine and all that, and like things at the bottom of like an ocean, and and he's like his celebration of he's found them with all this debris and everything going around. Yes, I got them. And his little face, celebration as he comes out the toilet is I think it's again it's iconic. He like 2 feet stuck out of the toilet. It's a very iconic shot.
Yeah.
It's what it's portrayed. That's the thing, is like what it does, it forgets what he's actually doing when you first watch it, like probably even the
Mhm.
second time, because he's trying to get drugs out of that toilet. But how they do it is make it so it's a bit funny, a bit quirky, and takes the levity off of like, he's literally lost these drugs and he's going through that to find it. So
Mhm.
I think it's again Danny Boyle, like hats off to you to do that.
The
But
things you're willing to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we next I couldn't show I was going to show the air rifle.
You can't show the air rifle either. There's so
I
much of
don't
this film, we
know.
can't even in funny parts, we can't even show an
Yeah.
air rifle, but
So we get
ugh.
Stick Boy and Renton, going to. I'm
They
coming
must
off the
do this
drugs.
frequently. It looks like this is,
Y- Yeah,
a weekly event of trying
Miss
to,
Moneypenny, eyes are in sight. So he comes
yeah.
across a man with his dog, who's relaxing in the park. Yeah, bang, like that. But like the dog, like completely goes for the thing, and they're
Goes
just like,
after the
oh
guy. I
yeah,
mean, ugh,
whatever. It's just like them, but it's just showing they're like without the score. Boredom takes over, and this is what they do to just that in the bit with boredom. Of course, they've already said that Tommy is very good of like, I can kick it and then come back to it and kick it and come back to it and kick it, come back to it. So I think this is where oh well, I'm bored without it, you're bored without it, and this is their entertainment. I'm guessing other times they shoot people with the air rifle. But
why?
it's
What horrible people, though. Again, like, what horrible people.
yeah. Yeah. But so we get to that, and of course, then we get. I do like Spud. I do like him. He's
You have to.
absolute.
He's a simple
But in a
guy.
way, you hate him, but you like him. But he's an absolute loser. He's the funny comedy moment, because like I speak fast sometimes, but wow, in this scene, it's like, what are you saying? So
Yeah.
like this is a setup. They're sharing a milkshake because I'm guessing both of them, because they're both in suits, have been given in quickly. Anybody's I think in the UK, even if you're on the dole or the gyro, as they call it in this, you have to go for
You have to
jobs.
apply.
You
Yeah.
have to apply and then go to interviews. And then they will give their recommendation. But did they try it? No, they didn't turn up, didn't even try, and then they can cancel gyro. So they need to try. But of course,
Don't try
even
too hard
yeah,
because you might get
yeah,
the bugger.
yeah, and then Spud doesn't know what to do. So it's here's some I know what we can have. We can have some speed.
Some
Like that.
speed. Why not? Oh
That
my
will
goodness.
help. Oh my god. And it's but like this shot, it just reminds me of every waiting room with the colors and everything in the 90s in England.
And that chair,
Like
the chair was a thing I
oh,
noticed too.
yeah, it's just
But look how
everything
he's
about
by
it.
himself. Look
Yeah.
at the distance between him and the people who are interviewing him. Like they don't want to touch him. They don't want to be near him. And
Yeah.
in the book, so I realize in this scene, because he's talking so fast, most Americans probably wouldn't have heard a word that he said during
I
this
didn't
interview.
hear a word he said.
But what he had practiced was he falsified the application, but he was going to admit to falsifying the application because he was going to say he had to get his foot in the door. So he put himself as graduating from kind of a hoity-toity, I think what you call a public school, what we would call a private school. And the head interviewer would say, "Well, son, why would you lie about something like that?" And he'd say, "Because of discrimination, sir, because I know if if I don't come from the right school, you wouldn't even have looked at me." And he immediately actually elicited sympathy from the other interviewers. And in the book, he almost got the job, but then he realized that and he kept rambling on so he wouldn't get the job. But that's what he was going back and forth about, trying to put the interviewers on the back foot by accusing them of discriminating if he didn't come from the right school. And basically, no, he doesn't have any qualifications for anything. But it's a really good scene in the book and a really good scene here.
Yeah, it's funny. But like their look is like, oh, like even that thing is like, but you were given us by the job center. It's like it's like that. Oh, but yeah. And then of course that he goes off and then they go to their bar. And this is where I've got to ask you, do you know a Bigsby?
I think we all know a Bigsby.
I
I know a
said
Bigsby.
everybody
not
knows
to
it.
the extent of this Bigsby, but I've met a few Bigsby in trainings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think everybody knows one. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's just walk up, ease in here, go away.
Goes drinking, looking for a fight. Yep.
Yeah, I think this is this is one that is to the extreme. Of course, he has these little moments talking about him doing the pull of how I can't remember who he said he was being like. I'm going to say Jimmy White, but it's not Jimmy White. But and then of course he just after some, whoop, like but he does it like what's his name, Robert Carlyle, isn't it?
Yeah, Robert Carlyle.
Yeah, he just does it in a
So
mannerism
nonchalant.
like hey, like that, and then it's just that don't give a crap. And then of course we get the story whilst Tommy's the infinite goals 100 that we find out later. That is quite a big like crap on Tommy by Renton. Is like
they don't care.
It's essentially the butterfly effect for Tommy, where this leads to. Like, this is the domino that starts the whole chain.
Yeah, so he's going through Tommy's the VHS collection. I say DVDs, but yeah, and of course they're going back and forth about a pool thing where Tommy was just everything he hit, even if he hit it wrong, it all went right for him. And
he
then
was trying to lose.
yeah,
He was trying so hard
yeah.
to lose because Begbie was going to just nail him, and even when he tried to miss, it accidentally went in.
I wonder how many times they took that shot though, because that
Oh
was
my gosh.
literally like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's things. But of course, then whilst he's telling the story, what we showed earlier, spoilers. Renton comes across Tommy and Lizzie's Volume 1, and he's curious. What does it mean? So he switches the tapes for that of the 100 greatest goals of all time. And whilst the story of Tommy is still being distracted doing weights and telling the story about Tommy and this poor little fellow who opens a bag of salt and vinegar crisps. And he makes the noise that, of course, makes Begsby's misses. Now, this is the first instances before the next one, because you forget he's just thrown the glass. And
That
then
hit the
this
woman
is,
in the head, remember?
yeah, but we don't
and
yet. But it's in slow motion because at the moment it
right.
hasn't actually, you haven't heard the scream yet. And of course, yeah, and then of course Bigsby, because he rips the felt, blames it on the guy who's opened the bag of crisps and taking a snack, and he kicks the living crap out of him. Let's say that. And of course, we get back to here. Tommy finished the end of the story of like, well, that's actually what that's what happened. But then we get back to, yeah, can I borrow it? They all having a conversation, but we get, oh, the scream of this woman, the absolute blood curdling scream of like just being hit by. Now those glasses, they do
heavy,
shatter. They're
heavy
banned
Oh, yeah,
now
those
because
are-
they're
Yeah.
completely banned because
That's
people
thick glass.
realize, yeah, they're like they actually, how they were made, they shatter, and people used to do it. Like you can use it as a punching device with
Oh,
people, so they
gosh.
got banned. But yeah, so what does he do? Goes downstairs.
He gives
Right,
him whoever did
nobody
that.
leaves. Yeah, nobody leaves until we find out who glassed this poor young woman. Who the fuck are you? And then I was like, oh, and that's it. I'm here for a fight. I'm here for a fight.
Just
Now,
a beast, just an
and
absolute beast. That's where he gets his high,
yeah,
right? His high is not from the drugs. His high is from violence.
but
Just
I think this,
utter
I think this
violence.
shows straight away why. Yeah, he's with addicts. This is his addiction, but nobody else his age is like. But yeah,
Mhm.
now Abe might have, like, they do like their fights up north. I've seen this many a times, and you're like, oh well, okay, they're in a fight. Like the bar just goes. It's like, like you see them old Wild West movies when
Oh,
like
yeah.
everybody, this is it. I'm like, wow. And like the first time I witnessed it, I was like probably 22, and I was like, oh okay, that's happening. I'm just gonna go.
I'm out of here. Yeah,
I'm out of
seriously.
here. I'm just gonna get out of here. But people, yeah, some people love it. Yeah,
Just
not
crazy.
me.
So
But
you
yeah, but
mentioned Begbie's, age.
Mm.
And I feel like because it wasn't our homework. And I don't want to be a spoiler, but for those who haven't seen T2, not Terminator 2, Trainspotting 2, watch it, because you'll get the backstory done in a very good way, not done in a kind of, pandering way. Begbie's not that much older than them. He's probably 1 year older, but he was held back in school, and he did go to school with some of these, guys' kids. That's how they met him, and it was because he was held back. So he was, not the smartest, not the brightest, and just didn't fit in anywhere. And you get a really good backstory for him, including a little bit of his family backstory too. And you kind of start to understand why he is the way he is. No sympathy for him, of course, no sympathy, but you do understand the way he is.
yeah, I say like maybe just because he's how they portray him with the mustache and all that. Everything else is clean shaven
Mhm.
because it's like not a 90s look, a mustache, really.
I feel like this film centers very much around Mark Renton, Rent Boy, and Simon Sick Boy. It's very much their core story. The sequel is very much Begbie and Spud, with all of the characters still there, but it's telling a good story about all of them, but you're getting more of the backstory and why they are the way they are for Begbie.
I wonder if
and
that was
Spud.
a director's writing choice or it was in the book that because you said it's all different parts, like they're all things,
Mhm.
because you think Ewan McGregor has just come off
Yeah.
Shallow Grave literally
Yep.
the year before, and Johnny Lee Miller just did Hackers, didn't he? So literally that was their breakthrough movies. I think it was Hackers. Yeah, it must have been. Somebody has look. It was Hackers before this movie or after this movie. Some bit chat later. I'm sure that's where their breakout ones. Robert Carlyle, bits on TV, like even Johnny Lee Miller done the Bill, EastEnders, all of them. He's like, you know, was one person that was always like that, like, you know, 20 episodes there, 20 episodes this bit. But yeah, it seemed like, yeah, he managed to get a couple of up and comings, you know, like that. So, you know, especially with Shallow Grave, that got really good reviews and like got a lot of promise behind it.
Oh my God, he was on
I like
EastEnders
it.
too. Did you say EastEnders? He was in EastEnders.
Yeah, it's about 20 episodes. Is it 12, 20 episodes, something like that? But yeah,
seven.
like
But yeah,
okay.
Hackers was right before Trainspotting. So Hackers was 1995.
Yeah, so it's weird that like the two ones in both those movies
It
got
makes
them.
sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, because that's the movie Hackers, isn't it? That he went off with Angelina Jolie.
I don't know. I've not
They
seen
married.
Hackers.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, she's in it. She very, very young, but they married straight after that movie.
Oh, no idea.
Really?
And then, of course, divorce quite soon.
Yeah, just as quickly.
Yeah.
So, but Robert Carlyle also was, you know, also a stage actor. So he was on stage and did a few films, and then immediately after this, he was just thrown into a bunch. I mean, obviously,
He done James Bond, didn't he?
He got
like
James
what?
Bond film. He
I
got
bet it was.
Full Monty.
I bet James Bond was like what, 4 years? Got to be like. You think it's Pierce Brosnan? So this is 96. Like,
let's see.
It's got to be like. Was it not GoldenEye? It would have been the one after that.
No, it was not GoldenEye. Pierce Brosnan, by the way, just to go completely off track, very underrated James Bond. I mean, honestly, when I look back, he's. I don't know if he's my favorite, but
I always think you like your era James Bond. I think like that. So our crossover
you think that's it?
Roger Moore to Pierce. Like, you can't really count Timothy. I do like Timothy Dalton's ones, but he just did.
I do too. There should have been more Timothy Dalton. The World Is Not Enough, but I think I saw him in. Obviously, I love the Full Monty, and then Angela's Ashes. Boy, there's another tough. Film. So he, you know, he just took off after then. But you know,
I have to agree with Abe with something.
Bronson, yes, Abe, we agree with you. It's Highlander we have to worry about, but I'm happy to agree with Abe.
I never agree. No, not all the time. That's a deep rabbit hole you're going down there if you start agreeing with Abe all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Pierce Brosnan, he had that suave. Yeah, he was suave. And yes, Daryl, the four friends on the train station. Yeah, I had seen that as well in some of the notes. And there's a kind of a behind the scenes video essay that someone had done talking about the staging to make it look like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And then later you'll see them when their heist is coming to a culmination, you'll see Abbey Road, you know, being
You know, I thought they were doing kind of a reverse Abbey Road thing there, and I wasn't entirely sure if I was just imagining it or making it. I'm like, maybe it's just because it's British and I'm trying to tie the two together. But I saw that as well.
Yeah. But yeah, so they all watch whilst literally, it's obvious that they also, well, their hits are, but none of them go and help. It's like,
no, this happens all the time.
This is
the way. Yep.
That's it. And then there's a couple of times when he pulls something, they try and stop him to escalate it. But you're like, no, they try and, they stay away because it's probably worse for them to kind of step in and get him out.
Oh God, yeah.
Than to actually do anything. So they're like, no, just stay there.
But he has no loyalty to them. I mean, and they only have a loose loyalty to each other anyway, all of them, because the drugs are what keep them together at this point in their lives. He has the least. Yeah, they're all afraid of him.
Yeah.
They're all, and you'll see it throughout this film. And oh my God, in the next film, you'll see it. They're even more terrified of him. But he's their friend, you know, quote, I'm doing air quotes here. He's their friend. He's just always in their circle. He doesn't have any other circles to be in. But yeah, they've seen this before. They're just going to wait for it to all blow over. And then they'll go on their merry way.
So that debacle happens, and of course we get the opening of the greatest 100 goals, and not being horrible. And I every time I was like, would you want to watch one of your mates do these
No.
goals?
That's my first thought was like, I wouldn't have any interest in this, to be honest with you. It's kind of a bizarre move.
Yeah. Imagine that one of your friends went, "Oh, here's a DVD. What is it? It's me and my girlfriend going out there. Enjoy." You're like, what?
All
What are you
right.
doing? Like,
It's
we're just
incredibly
we just
odd.
sit around. Yeah, and it's kind of like, yeah, but whilst he's watching it, of course, he gives the fingers that he realizes how long it's been that hasn't had sex for. So they're off on the pool. Oh my god, this is so literally. Did you have clubs like this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, oh my god,
Mhm.
Yeah.
terrible. Like you go, yeah, it's
But I like
yeah,
the
I
heavy
was
metal
like-
bar better. So if you want
Yeah,
to look up Hammer
I never
Jacks
used-
in Baltimore, it no longer exists, but Hammer Jacks was the place to be.
I had a mate who loved this kind of music, so now and again we would go to these clubs. Oh no, I used to hate them. I used to like, just like do, and
I
like,
mean, yeah, they're not all that much different nowadays, to be
No,
honest.
Kind of
It's
not. All the
slightly
music
different
sounds
lighting,
alike. I
and
swear to goodness.
yeah, it's slightly
Yeah.
different lighting nowadays, less 90s colors, and just a different kind of house music or electronic, whatever you want to call it.
Hey,
yeah,
look up
yeah,
Hammer
nothing's
Jacks
changed.
and look up the band Kicks from Baltimore, Kixx, the band Kicks, and yeah, that's a good time. Look that one up. But you can see in
metal
the scene,
forever. There you go.
you see a lot of the red light and the green light, and
Oh, yeah.
you also see, and it's very prominent, when all the guys are hooking up except for Renton, and they're all with pseudo stylish people, and then Renton's just with the total. I don't know if you noticed, he's with the dweebs. If you look at all the
Mhm.
guys
Oh,
that
yeah,
he's
yeah.
standing with,
Standing on the wall.
they have no rhythm. They're kind of bopping, but not to the rhythm of the
That
music.
reminded me of the scene out of Greece when they're waiting to like get their called up by the
Yeah.
girls. They're like,
and the dance. Yes. Okay.
yeah. It kind of reminded that, like, because they were like, we haven't got a partner, and they're waiting to get invited to get onto dance floor. But I like this scene. I must say this between Tommy and Spud is about the 6 weeks no sex because she read somewhere in Cosmopolitan that it make him a better lover or more, like, was it
Attentive.
I do like to say, because it's quite funny because you don't need subtitles, but they were like, sod it, we'll play up the music so high that you will not even understand the Scottish even more
Exactly.
English language, and we do need subtitles. And I think it's quite a clever thing because you're, as most people know, you've been in those clubs where you're just shouting at each other. You are just
You don't hear
shouting
each
at
other like,
Yeah.
what? And you just nod your head like you pretend you heard the other
Yeah.
person. Now, does anyone recognize the font of the letters behind these gentlemen?
Look kind of like something from Austin Powers now that I'm looking at it.
If you've seen A Clockwork Orange, when the Misfits are in the bar, the font behind the Misfits is this font. And that was another purposeful choice by Danny Boyle to use that font with a little bit of a nod to A Clockwork Orange, just to show how outcast this group is. They're in a popular place. They're with the cool people. They are not the cool people. They're not.
No.
They're off by themselves. Kind of amazing that any of them can get women anyway.
Yeah, but also you can see how much of a dive it is because also it's very empty. Even like the dance floor was empty. It's not a popular place. So yeah, it's probably the Misfits go there. We can tell that by we'll get to it. It's like they let underage kids in.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, everybody's so we get this kind of, I like the scene. They're talking about the sex, and it's just like I think it's hilarious. It's like they're having actual adult conversations between each other. But then when the partners comes up, what are you talking about?
Shopping.
Football. What are you talking about? shopping. I think it's brilliant. I just love it. I just think it's again, it's very iconic. It's very a British thing. Oh, you don't need to know. I'm going to tell you, I'm talking about you, football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's one of the spots where the movie uses humor to just kind of lighten the load of the story itself.
Yeah.
But this whole scene again, isn't it? It's quite a bit, quite a long scene. The sex bit and like this is like to kind of levitate of like they're also normal teenagers kind of thing, is like in a way they're trying to depict this is like this is what they should be doing, but they're not. They're doing something else. But yeah, so Renton, he's the dweeb and in his corner with his little tank top.
I don't even know if it's a tank top. It's almost like a crop top. It's a tiny t-shirt.
I think he's like, because he's like a lot of his clothes are like he's wearing them up to there. I think they're like old clothes that he's sold them all. His new clothes, and he's just got his old clothes or something like that. And like,
Maybe.
or they're like,
just throw on whatever got from a thrift store, found on the street. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but of course, then we get bored. He catches the eye of Diana,
who looks like perhaps the most sophisticated person in the bar, and the guy though who's trying to chat her up. Did you see he's wearing like that's frilly cuffs? That's frilly cuffs.
I actually didn't even notice that from this angle. He kind of almost looks like Hugh Jackman.
Oh my God,
just like a tiny bit.
Yeah, it's one of those bad tuxedo shirts.
Yeah,
but
I'm guessing the Seinfeld shirt.
But everybody's had it. I've had it. Girls have had it 100 times more.
No, you haven't.
I've had it. I've had a couple of bad chat ups. I've had.
Oh one. No! I thought you meant you've had one of those shirts.
Oh no! I know.
Please tell me you've never
if
had.
If you do, you have to wear it next week's show.
Yeah, oh my God, I'll try and find it.
Frilly cuffs, and he's got the frills. It's a bad.
I might just go and buy one. I have to go second-hand store.
Oh my God! Later. I was worried for a minute there. I was gonna have to call Jade.
No, but you're a fashion designer. What the hell are you doing? But yeah, this is like every woman's had this probably. Is like the person is like, go and get me a drink. Why? Just go, can I buy you a drink? Why not? It's free. You're not gonna get laid. Like that. And then I like how she drinks that one drink and just goes, and yours. And like that.
Bye.
Yeah. But of course he has the definition of I fell in love. So yeah, she leaves, and look at that. That's the crop top. There we go.
Yeah.
And he gives some speech of like corny little speech of like you're the one kind of thing, and then she's like, "Does that ever work?" But must have caught his eye because she leaves the
door open. Literally leaves the door open.
Yeah, and then it kind of gets on to everybody starts getting off, so they get into the back of the cab. And I was saying I would hate to be a night cab driver, especially in a big city. I bet you they've even like now they've seen a lot of things.
I'm sure they've seen.
Oh, there's some weird things on the back of their cabs, wouldn't it be? Oh, but yeah, so they get that, and everybody starts. Even Spud, he's been told tonight's the night. You're getting it tonight, and then of course. Lizzie and Tommy go off. They get back to Diana's place. Can't really show the rest like that.
She's got stuffed animals in her room.
Yeah, it's very.
And let me ask a question of you British people, including the Scottish people, and including all. These people are bringing their catches home to their parents' houses. I don't like. We would not do that here. That's not like what the heck?
The rule is in the UK because it is more because we don't have you can go off anywhere because it's all close. Mostly you go back to the guy's house, I suppose. Like you never go to the girl's house. I think the guy's parents are more open things like. I'm guessing girl parents are going to be more like. Whoa, you don't want to meet the dad.
Hell no.
The next day, it's like that. It was like so. Yeah. So I'm
Never.
guessing if you did, you're going back to the guys. Yeah, but
Not
I'm
even when
guessing
I
he.
was married. Not even when I
Yeah.
was married. You didn't go back to the home where your parents were. That just no.
So, but yeah, I'm guessing she's a bit of a rebel. She's trying to be, isn't she? So, it's a thing. So, yeah, and like, yeah, they again, what we said it off screen. Sandy gets a full frontal of men now, doesn't you? You get like
I'm telling you,
another.
it's been several films now where we get the front, the back, the
Were
all
they
everywhere.
both Sandy's picks? No, the
Yes.
last one was Colin
No.
Farrell. That was your pick.
That was your
Was it?
pick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was mine.
All right,
Yeah.
1 and 1 here. Just keeping
There we
track.
go. Yeah. Barbarella. We're going to have to do that next.
Well, I think
But yeah.
everyone gets their gets to see everything in this.
Everybody
Yeah,
gets to
fair
see
enough.
everything. Like it's good. Yeah, it's
Girls
yeah.
and boys.
Everybody. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be shocking because what the next scene, because everybody goes at it. Of course, Spud is gonna get his action. Unfortunately, he's fallen asleep. Oh, and we'll find out
missed it.
why. Yeah.
He missed it.
And then, of course, Tommy. This is, of course, what Jay said earlier. This is where it all the spark alights, doesn't it? So Lizzie says, "Put on the video. Want to watch ourselves whilst we do ourselves." Yeah, and of course, it's the greatest goals of football gets put on, and then we get back. That there's finishing. There's moments of finishing. Let's be polite. And Dinah says, "Well, you can."
Several
you
goals
can't
were
stay-
scored. Put it
Yes.
that way.
Yeah.
Well put.
Yes. That he can't stay in her room, but he can go home or stay in the sofa outside the door. So he gets kicked out, of course, and then morning we see Tommy is hunting.
Frantic.
Yeah. Whilst Lizzie's going, I'm feeling sick, and he's like, I might have accidentally posted it back in the rental place.
Turned it to the rental place.
It's like, oh my god. And she's like, oh my god, there's weirdos out there masturbating to us. So she's distraught. And then, of course, another comedy moment is Spud wakes up. Yeah, and where
Spud's
am
had
I?
a bad tummy. Yeah, he's had a bad tummy.
He's had a bad tummy. So he's waking up, and it goes a bit back and forth between the things. So, of course, then Renton wakes up. Spud realizes he's done what is it called? A mishap. Let's politely put it.
He's
that.
let himself down, as you Brits often say, right? He's let himself down.
Yeah. So we get him going, oh shit, and then of course we get back Lizzie and things outside the home entertainment thing, waiting for it to open. So they're literally first doors going in, and of course then we get Renton goes into the dining room. Oh, are you? Do you want some breakfast? Are you Dinah's friend?
Are you Dinah's sister?
Yeah, and then it's like, are you her flatmates? They giggle it off, and then
They're her
the
parents.
next bit, realization, bang. She turns up in school uniform, so she has to be maximum. I'm guessing because it's at 15.
In the book,
15.
they say 15. Yeah.
15, yeah. So she's last year of things. So yeah, she's 15. What's of course against the law in the UK
and in America.
In most civilized places.
So for Italy's 13. There's some parts of Europe even worse. Yeah.
I'm not going to touch that one. That's their choice.
But yeah, and then his realization is, oh shit. But then of course we get back of Spud sneaking into breakfast, the room of his girlfriend. How has he got a girlfriend? One thing.
How has he got a girlfriend? How did the parents? They're so kind to him, and the
My
mom
thoughts
even
exactly.
cleaned the sheets. I don't understand.
They make it seem like he's a well-functioning boyfriend. They're proud for their daughter to have.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. There's a lot of
odd.
baked beans there. I'm not banal. There's only one egg, one sausage, and then 2 slices of bacon. But a lot of baked beans. That's too much baked beans.
A lot of toast in the middle there.
Yeah, that's too much baked beans. That's a lot. But yeah, they have I'm really sorry, I have an accident. At least he admits to it. He has it in the thing. I couldn't show it. I just couldn't
No,
put
no, no,
myself
please.
like
And the
that.
mom's like, "Oh, it happens to all of us, dear." I'm like, "What? What?
I don't think she knew what it was though.
Oh no, for
Yeah,
sure.
but even assuming that he wet the bed, it's like, does it really happen to all of us as adults? Like, it's still not.
I don't.
Yeah,
still not really accurate.
everybody's had one of those nights being like, oh no, that was too much drink. No, I've never woken up in that, like, gone, oh look, you drink, look what happens to you.
Right. If you want to tell me you puked, that's one thing. You want to tell me you wet the bed, I might roast you, but fair enough. If you number 2, that's a new one. I've never heard that one.
Oh, but yeah, it's very hilarious. It's hilarious and quite disgusting at the same time. You're like, oh, that's funny, but then their faces of like the walls covered
while they're eating breakfast. No.
breakfast.
I immediately went. My mind immediately went to like, there's no amount of cleaning I could do that could ever make that kitchen sanitary for me to sit at again. I would leave. Burn it down, leave, whatever. There's no amount of bleach or anything possible that could allow me to eat in that kitchen ever again.
Absolutely.
Oh, that is bad. But can you imagine having like just cleaning yourself?
I would lose at least 7 layers of skin just scrubbing it off.
Yeah, but the thing is, you would have to clean yourself and then go, oh, I have to now clean this.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere. It's like, oh no, that was bad enough. You would.
Well, the worst part would be there's only one shower, most likely, maybe 2 at most. So a few of you have to sit there and wait. Oh, God.
Oh yeah, you were like, oh, that. Yeah, I'm just going to garden.
Yeah, I guess, right?
Get the hose out. Get the hose out.
Yeah,
lose everyone off.
Yeah, go prison style. Get out cold out. Oh, but it's funny. It's literally, and it shows, that Spud is the comedy person in this movie. I don't mind it. But then we get back.
By the way, does he look familiar to? We've talked about other characters.
And the second I saw him, I'm like, he looks so familiar. And then I looked up his IMDb and immediately saw what I recognized him from. But now I can't remember what it was again.
Wonder Woman.
Yes. He's the sniper.
Yes.
The sniper. The
drunk
sniper.
Yeah. And he looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
A little bit dopey.
He didn't seem as tall in that movie, though. For some reason, I don't remember him seeing it like in this. He's clearly like the tall, skinny guy. I didn't remember him looking that tall in that movie.
I think because they made Gal Gadot tall for her, of course, being Wonder Woman. So the woman has to be the bigger character. But
he's good in that too. I liked him in that movie.
Very good in that. He plays those kind of characters. Those kind of sympathetic.
He's got the thick accent in that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I completely forgot. Yeah, that he was actually in that.
And a few more things as well, but Wonder Woman.
But yeah, so we get Diana. What was the movie that we? Sorry, what was the movie that we watched that she was in?
No Country for Old Men.
Oh
yes.
Where she's doing it.
Was there another? No, I was watching something. I remember when we picked this movie. That's.
I mean,
not Rowena Ravenclaw.
Yep,
I always laugh.
It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah, because I think this is. I think I've got a period drama that I know her from. This is like when she does her real accent, and it's like quite funny. Like, but she does a good American accent. She does them well.
Oh yeah,
it's like
that wasn't even just an American accent. Well, I mean, I'm sure she's done other things with more common American accents, but hitting the No Country for Old Men accent was really, really impressive.
Yeah.
That's a hard accent.
He's one of those ones who, like, I think we've had like them actors. We know him. She's like really like spot on with the job, but she's not a leading lady. She's not classed a Hollywood leading lady, but she does her job. Bang. Done
for sure.
Winner. That's it. But like she'd never been given, like that. Okay, we're gonna give you your leading lady of a drama. She should be, because she's been around like and done it. Like I've not seen anything that I've disliked her in. So I'd say that, but I think she's
see if she has any big ones that we have overlooked. Yeah. Let's see. She has the ones we've talked about. Nope. I mean, she was in Skeleton Crew. Not that that's anything to be remarking about. She was in Boardwalk Empire.
She was amazing in that.
Yeah, no, just the ones we've talked about.
You've not watched Bulk Empire?
No, it's one of the ones that skip by me, and I always
Yeah,
meant to go
do it.
back to. Just haven't.
Oh, it's such a
That is my
good
top
series.
10 top 10 series.
Really?
Series.
Yeah, it has to, I love.
I like Steve
love that.
Buscemi in anything though.
Steve Buscemi,
yeah, he's good.
Brilliant. Yeah, but
He's
if you like mobster crime,
I do, which is why it's always been like surprising to even myself.
It's one of the ones I'm watching the original Battlestar Galactica again, but that's is on my next rewatch list. Anything, Sandy?
Can I hold your hand? No, you can't hold my hand. If you don't see me again, I'll tell. I'll tell everyone. So now she's got a little blackmail. She's got a little blackmail. Yeah.
He knows it underage. So but then we get the. So what did you say? This is Betrayed. What?
The Sgt. Pepper's cover with two of them standing in front, two of them.
I'm gonna be controversial here, but I don't care. I don't like the Beatles.
Really?
I don't.
I feel like that tends to be the case with the Beatles. You either really like them or you hate them for whatever reason.
I really don't like them. I'm like, oh, so yeah.
I like them. I've always liked them. I wouldn't say they're like one of my favorite bands, but I like them a lot, and I respect what they did for music. But I've never understood why people hate them. But I hear that a lot, probably more than I would expect to.
Stop it, Abe, or you're going to get banned. Stop agreeing with me. But I've just never.
I feel like I could hate the fans of the Beatles that kind of like feel like they're the greatest thing to ever happen in music. Like I feel like their fans could annoy me more than them themselves, and that could make me turn on them to a degree. But
I think it's probably what you brought up with as well. I think because Girlfriend, like that, Elvis, that kind of like Motown stuff. That was she was that. No, I don't. But I was brought up with like Jeff Beck, Jimi Hendrix, or like the Grateful Dead. All that was my parents' kind of thing. A lot of blues, and classical music. So I kind of went,
I kind of discovered all of the, from 60s to 70s, 80s. I kind of discovered it all on my own through high school in terms because my parents weren't big music fans. So I didn't really grow up, I kind of just found my own music growing up. And then I met a few friends who were big into classic rock. So all at the same time, I was introduced to Hendrix and the Beatles and, the Who and all these different bands all at once. So it all to me kind of, I like all of it. So I never really picked sides when it came to, those versions of classic rock. Yeah. Even the different eras.
To go down a different path, though, I would highly recommend, Jay, the Keith Richards biography, which is called Life, is absolutely fantastic. I'm a big Rolling Stones fan, and I also grew up on The Who. I swear I could sing every word to the Tommy soundtrack before I could even, sing "Mary Had a Little Lamb" because I like
The Who. Don't like Rolling Stones.
My dad played it incessantly, but that biography is exceptional because he goes through how the songs were really developed. Keith what's his name? Mick Jagger was really just the front man, right? Keith Richards and the rest of the band really put the music together. So anyway, just to divert there, it's a great, it's one of those ones on audiobook I could not stop listening to. I would find myself staying in the car much longer than I should have wherever I was going because I didn't want to stop listening to this audiobook.
Interesting.
So Life by Keith Richards. Yes. Keith Richards, who was in the choir at Westminster Abbey when Queen Elizabeth II was crowned. True. Really? He's that old.
And even older.
Older.
But we get the.
Is that Carreur? Where is that? I gotta look that up.
Scotland looks the same.
What?
Some mountain in Scotland.
Train station.
Looks like a chateau. And that is, I love this bit because Tommy's taking him in the middle of nowhere. It
is Carreur. I knew that. I'm going there someday. It's on my list of places to go. Yeah.
But Tommy, because he's been dumped by Lizzie, we find out because they could never find the tape, is we need to do something with the boys. We need to do something. But he's not them. he's been dragged
he
in
might
with
be the
Begs's.
only good person in the movie.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
In terms of morals, we never really see him make a bad moral decision that I can think until after the drugs come into play. Well, sorry, spoiler alert, but until that starts to come into play. And even then, I don't think he does anything to really harm anybody else other than himself. He's like the only good person in the movie.
But he's just trying to get. I like this because he's trying to like. I need support. This is what I would do to bond with people. I probably did it with girlfriend, and he's trying to get the boys involved. And like,
it's a good, healthy thing to do. Clear your mind. Go for a walk.
And I'm not,
fresh
but
air.
they've blatantly like, okay, we go there support, but we're not climbing a flipping mountain,
right?
like that. And he's I love it because he's like really proud to be Scottish. He's like, look what we've got. And then Renton, it's one of the. I love this speech.
I hate
like,
the Scots.
oh, he goes, we are shit. We're the lowest of the low. And he's like that. He goes, people will hate the English. They're just wankers. And he goes, we got colonized by wankers.
Yep.
And it's just the greatest speech. I think it's brilliant. It's like, I don't get like, they're like, what the flipping heck are we out here for? I think it's great. I love this speech. It's just like, yeah, anybody else be out there go, it's nice, it's country, explore the Highlands, whatever, and they're just like, we're just Scottish and we're shit, and I love it because he just brings down yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people, and you get that, like if you're in like your own little community, and you like people go, yeah, we're this, and you're like, we're not really though, are we? Like that. They're like, don't tell anybody else though. Don't tell anybody else. And I think it's great. Like it's quite an open, honest opinion. Like especially in the 90s. I'm like, oh, it's just all shit. It's all shit. And like you can moan about everybody. We're to blame. I think it's great. I think I do laugh at this scene. I think this is one of my favorite, like the quote scenes that Renton
and the
gives.
way they react to green fields and fresh air is the way a normal human would react to drugs, right? How horrible. They are acting as if Tommy is doing something hideously awful,
despicable,
by walking in a field, and they're on this little bridge over a little rivulet of some sort of creek, and they won't take a step off that bridge. Like they won't let themselves experience fresh air and green fields and a happy life. And Tommy goes out a little ways, and then Tommy turns around and comes back.
Yeah.
He turns around.
It's sad. He's just like,
pull him back in. They pull him in. But yeah, it's the way they're acting. And in the book, it's very visceral that why are we here? Why? And Tommy's like, what do you mean, why? Look around. No, seriously, why are we here? What's the point? Like, they can't even comprehend what joy there might be in the great outdoors. They can't. They just can't.
Yeah.
And they suck him back to their level.
Yeah. And then, of course, we just go back to, they're back to their normal routine of, doing what they do. And of course, like, what's he talking? Like, he keeps talking about James Bond girls, doesn't he, at this point?
Yeah, like, I can't remember if it's Bond girls, or Sean Connery. It's kind of all he talks about for some reason.
Yeah, he's very into James Bond. Very into James Bond.
But yeah, he's the only one who's got a little bit of money because he can come back. But yeah, they're just their things. But then we kind of get what they actually do when Renton knows his mum's hidden stash of monies underneath her mattress,
quilty old lady blanket.
Red and green and red though. Now I notice it
prominently.
But yeah, and then we get this is where this is the person you feel sorry for is when Tommy goes to see Renton, because Renton's the only one who can actually, when he actually not high, can vocabulate like
he's smart, he's intelligent.
Actually can string two words together. I just couldn't then, but then but yeah, he's and then of course Renton's out of it, and the only way he can get it is when he shows him the money. It's like he's so depressed. Instead of like any other mate you wouldn't go to drugs, but this is what his mates do. So he wants to experience that awayness, that, feel away from the pain. Any other mate would go, what are you doing? This is my life. You need to run a mile. Any mate would do that. Of course, he's just like, oh, it's money. We can both take another hit. And that's
Yep.
it. Sees the money. That's the woohoo smile. But then, of course, we get how they get their money is they, rob from the pharmacist sheets off the doctors.
The prescription forms. Yep.
Yeah. Rob from the nursing homes. They walk in, take the TV.
Just walk in,
Like
just take the TV. They're not going to
Yeah.
do anything. Bye.
And then we get one. I think the next scene, I think it was cut. Because why would you have to say it and then not show what the festival's about? Because the
Do you
festival,
think they didn't want the Edinburgh Festival to be referenced or something?
I think somebody at the things they could say the first day of the Edinburgh Festival, but they couldn't show it. I bet you there was more scenes, and they said, "Oh, why are you shooting? Oh, we're shooting for a movie. Oh, yes. What's it about? Drugs? No, you can't.
No. Yeah.
I think it's probably that
Could
because
be.
there's some iconic places you could shoot around Edinburgh, and I'm guessing they didn't get the rights to. But of course, it comes up that, and then we get our. Pardon me, do a very.
poor guy.
Can you
Poor
go on
guy.
do the most posh American accent, please? Like that.
Pardon me.
But yeah, he goes in. Oh, what? There's like you got to be street smart sometimes. If you walk into that kind of place when everybody's drinking, everybody looks like that. Yeah, you kind of go to the toilet somewhere else. Like, yeah, it's a moment. Of course, yeah, he kind of gets. Again, I can't show it because it's quite fast, but they all follow him into the toilets.
But very, and I know, it's hard to they all, it's very staged very well.
Yeah,
The way they all walk together, they're, evenly spaced, marching at the same pace. Here's their mark. Here's their next mark.
but it's Begsby who's going to take him out. He doesn't really need the money. He's there for the fun. They're like, because he gives the cash, like in the next thing after he's done them, he gives them to everybody else. He's like, like, he was just there for the fun. And he was like, he got, again, nearly went over the top. He had to get stopped because he pulled a knife. So, yeah, it's it shows again his horrible character he is. Yeah, it's, and they probably went to that pub because that's not their, they're local probably, just because it was around, just in case an unwitting wanderer walked in. And yeah, because you even see it where the barman is wearing the red puffer jacket when they walk out. Yeah, so it's it just shows that. But yeah,
They've
and then of
divvied
course
it all up. They've divvied up everything. The poor guy's probably naked in the toilet. I mean, just
now the next bit we get, I can't show it all, and I'm
very
not going to show it all.
Yeah,
Is we just back from things. We get the blue neon lights, and then we just hear screaming, terror screaming, and more screaming, and then we kind of get everybody starts waking up from there, drugged, Intopia. I don't know, like they've been there. Renton says kind of she could have been screaming for like 5 minutes or a week. I would
in
not
the
have
book
known.
it's really clear that it's been days, literally days that they've been out and in this, just in this slumped state.
It's this bit I like because okay, is it needed? It's needed in the not, I suppose, as the shock factor, because previously we've had a bit of comedy. We've had a bit of comedy, like leading up to this. We've had a lot of comedy elements. We forgot about the drug elements, except for like, oh, how do you did the robbing, how to get your money for the drugs. They've gone away from the cooking quite heavily. They've gone, you know, like we've had the sex scenes, we've had the poo scene. But apart from that, we've not gone heavily back into the drugs. This is where we've gone back into their reality. You know, it's like that. And of course, screaming, they all wake up, they go into sick boy goes into the crib, and it's very disturbing. It's like
It
that,
is.
even like, and it's not okay, the doll or the baby, but it's the feet always
The
gets
whole,
me. Just
yeah,
like it's like
brutal visual.
gray.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's obvious that, you know, obvious that this child has been completely neglected. You don't know if she's been crawling on the floor and grabbing things and eating things off the floor. If it, you know, and they talk about, oh, it's, you know, cot death happens. We call it crib death here. It's
Yep.
incredibly sad.
I
But I
just think
think
it was neglect. I just think it was
just
like
total neglect.
my mind
Put
went
that-
to just total neglect.
yeah, just put their staff to death. I just think it was that,
Yep.
like, unfortunately, like toxic, sort of like that. Just yeah, it's horrid, and I think we've said, unfortunately, it probably still happens because of
does.
like just the
Yeah,
nature
I'm sure,
of
horribly enough.
this addiction. You know, like addiction. You know, not just this one, but like addiction when it gets like take control of you. Just that is more needed than to look after. Yeah, the most important thing in life. Yeah,
Well, and that's not it's not the most horrible thing that happens
Mm.
in the scene. The most horrible
No.
thing that happens in the scene is that she's in that state and no one calls for help. I mean, they know that she's passed. They need more drugs.
Yeah.
The first
Well,
thing
that's
they
it. Like,
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Like, even like sick boy again reaches out to Renton and says, "Just say something." Anyway, say something, and he's just like, he can't, and he just go, "I'm going to go and cook."
Mhm.
And that's it. And they go off. Yeah. For then, yeah, the next fix, and of course, the mum. Yeah. Please, I don't want to feel it anymore. And she's probably going to go back into that state and then forget and then wake up and then realize, yeah, this is what you're going to have to deal with. But I'm guessing one of them, you would think like the Mother Superior would have done something. Yeah, it's just.
Well, see, I was still. This is where like the writing started. A little bit of a weak point in the writing for me is I felt like there had to be some kind of repercussions for that. Like a child can't just die in somebody's care. Sorry for using potentially wrong word on YouTube, but a child's life can't, you know, end that way and not have some kind of legal repercussions or some kind of like. So I was kind of like, where's we never see the mother again? So I'm like, are we meant to believe she's, you know, going to
that's what I think.
some prison process? But I just would have needed something like, I don't know, some
I think there's
closure
some
to that scene. Like you leave me on such a grim thing, and then there's no closure to that story of like, well, what the hell happened next?
Yeah, but I think what they've done in this movie with Danny Boyle, it is Renton's story, isn't it? So I think if you did that, it's gonna divert, I suppose, into the book. Maybe is where you got. We're
So
gonna
you
follow
don't
the
get
different
that
lines.
character. Yeah, you don't get that character perspective in the book.
No.
But I think exactly what you said. It's focusing on Renton, and he's no longer attached to these people. Now, Simon is. It is very clear. It is not clear in the film, but it is very clear in the book that he's the father. And
they put a nod to it in the movie as well. Because leading up to like finding the baby in the crib, Renton's talking about like how you know, nobody ever really knew who the father was. Could be anybody, could be somebody, type of thing. And then like that kind of goes away. And once they get to this portion, he says something like, you know, from that point on, it was no longer a wonder who the father was.
Yeah, he never said it, but it was obvious. Yeah.
But
but then she has a jip at him, like at the beginning when she first does it. She goes, "Oh, like, oh, this is better than a penis." Let's say that like that. Doesn't say shit, and he's like, "What?" Like that. So there is that at the beginning. So they're blatantly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. I remember what you're referencing now. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even catch that.
So
yeah, they were involved, and it did seem like he was giving her, you know, whether it was her first hit or not in the beginning of the movie, it seemed like he was her introductory, you know, person, the concierge to the drug life, so to speak.
But I think this is where again it's good editing and good directing, because you've had bang, that's a bit on the nose, let's say that, and then it goes back to the start of the movie.
I'll be honest. I could have done without the visuals of the previous scene. If you
Mhm.
wanted to do the screaming and everything, and the standing over the crib, and the reactions, like by the time she was running around screaming, I knew obviously what had happened, what they were going to do, what's part of the story they were going to tell. I could have done without the visual of the doll, and maybe that's just me, a very odd point in my, not odd point, but a very specific point in my life to have just watched that
Yeah.
scene. So could have definitely just been me. I don't think I had that same kind of critique of it when I watched it years prior.
I
But
think
yeah,
I
I
think
could have done without it this watch through.
I think if they just showed, I think it's more impactful, and I think when they show the face, I say like it looks odd. The face. I think if they just show up to the knee, done.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
And maybe not
like
twice, because I feel like it went
No.
back to it a second time where I was like, I don't think I needed this second viewing.
More impact. It's just you know the impact of it. It just needs to be box. But
And sometimes it is kind of like how we always talk about what the mind makes up can be a little bit more than what the movie even shows you. And not that you really want your mind to make up anymore in this case, but it just felt like a scene, a visual that I didn't really need, and definitely didn't need to go back to, twice in a small span.
Yeah.
But small critique.
So we get this back from first, and then we get to see again. So we find out that Stick Boy was with him. He gets away. I'm guessing they're robbing John Menzies, and then of course they hit the car. They got the security guards, things like that, and they got pulled up against the magistrate, of course, who kind of they're all suited and booted, but he easily quickly hands down to Spud. You're having 6 months in prison because it's not your first offense, and also, but Renton, because you've entered into a rehabilitation thing, we commune your sentence that you do what you're supposed to do in the rehabilitation. So he gets away with it. And then, of course, they all go off celebrating. Again, if you're the parents, I'm clouting him around the head, not giving out.
I'm not taking him out for drinks. No,
Yeah.
like that's what I don't understand. Like I think maybe another theme of this film is like trying to blame the parents for the kids, which I mean,
Well,
yes
what's
and
that
no.
saying?
Y-
Well, that's
Yes
what I'm
and
saying.
no.
Because you get Bigby, and he's right. You wouldn't last 2 minutes in jail, and
He's
it's like that,
telling
and
them off.
he's scared of him. But of
Yep.
course, who turns up is Spud's mum, and then what does Bigsby? He actually tells the truth, and he's like, in a way,
Yeah.
but he does it in front of their parents. Of like, it's your fault. He's on smack. You're his parent. And they're sitting there, and I thought that was
Yeah.
quite like, he's kind of blind into the moment, like he's kind
In a
of
weird
saying,
way.
Yeah.
He's the adult at the table right now.
Yeah.
In a weird
Yes.
way.
Yeah.
Because the rest of them aren't, including the parents.
No, they're just like, okay, what they do later is good, but it's still, it's they've not taken any, like they're trying to take responsibility without taking responsibility. It's not like, could you say every I agree, probably everybody isn't made up to be a parent, and maybe they're trying to show that maybe it's Danny Boyle's a real life situation that he found out and he wanted to portray it, but they don't do anything to sort of, they're proactive, aren't they? Like people, they're like, they're not. So they're not
They
proactive.
put their heads
people.
in the
They're
sand. Bury their heads.
reactive people. So this happened, but of course he's taken whatever medication he needs to come off the heroin,
Methadone.
and then he's jumps out because he's taken it all today. And he
took 3 doses all at once instead of spacing it out. So
again, they jumps over, jumps into, back to the Mother Superior's place. And very nice. Yes, I'll take the chef special today. And unfortunately, the chef special isn't sitting right. And again, couldn't get it right on the screen, but you kind of, with the carpet, again, great cinematography to kind of that show you, I guess not what it is, but kind of give you that perspective of like you're in the ship. Let's say that. So of course he's had a bad hit, and this is Mother Superior. The only picture I could find without him
We got
Nothing in
one.
his
something.
hands.
At least
Yeah.
we
Nothing
got
in his
one.
hands.
There's probably
Yeah.
something in his other hand. We just can't see it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I'll call you a taxi. And of course, the first thing you see is an ambulance. So every time I forget, this isn't what he's talking about, because you think, oh, he means a taxi, call the ambulance. But he drags him down the stairs.
Dumps him
These are
in.
things. And it actually, yeah, I'm calling you a taxi.
It is a
Why?
taxi.
And you actually realize why, because he hasn't got to ask the questions then. Just calls a
Mhm.
taxi. Taxi would just throws him on there. So they get to A&E.
Dumps him
course,
out.
Dumps him out, takes the money out of his pocket. That's it. There's no questions, no names, no nothing. Where did you pick him up from? No, there's nothing. So if an ambulance, yeah, of course, you have to know the address, at least the apartment. So yeah, then the police will get involved. So yeah, in that way they do it. But yeah, then you of course get the view of the thing. Now I'm guessing it's not adrenaline they give him to come out of it. I'm guessing
So
they know.
it's here
it?
we have naloxone, which all police officers carry, it's like a nasal spray. I think Noxon is the like short term, but it's Narcan is the short term, but I think it's called naloxone. But anyway, it's like a hyper stimulant that they shoot up your nose. And I only know it because there are so many overdoses here in Baltimore, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., that police officers have to carry it with them because they're
Yeah,
called for
same here.
overdoses more than
What is it then?
other.
What is it? Is it like an epinephrine?
It's a
pen or whatever?
stimulant. It's a
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't honestly know. I've never looked into it. I've just known it's the reviver, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess, yep, that's what, yep, she, boop, and he instantly wakes up. And then, of course, the parents, yeah, go back like that. And I always love it because, like, here, do you want another drug? A cigarette? Like, goes like that. So, yeah. But this is where, this is where I like these scenes, and I can understand why people don't like this one, because they kind of make it quite easy, except for the back and forth, that he can really get over the habit, really, without problems. Because anybody you ever speak to who's been, unfortunately had these addictions, they say you just can't go cold turkey. It needs to be monitored, but the parents take it upon themselves to kind of, what they can
you
do.
can die, from what I understand, from
Yep.
the process if you do it too cold turkey and without proper medical guidance.
Yeah, and I knew
It's
this
no
was a
joke.
bit of backlash at the time, that they made out this, it's easier than it is. In other words, you're gonna have like a weak problem, but it's not about, no, it's hard to kick. These A class drugs, I think we call them. I don't know what you call them, but we call them A class. It's
Schedule 1 is what we call them,
it's
which
bad.
is why that silly video game is called Schedule 1.
Oh, is that why?
Yep.
There you
Yeah.
go. I never knew that. Yeah.
That's the thing.
But yeah, again, I didn't show the baby, but of course he's having his back into his childhood single bed thing, where he's got train wallpaper.
Wait,
and he
that would give me a migraine.
those wallpaper.
Yes, my gosh. Look how, I mean, it's just way too busy, too many trains. Definitely.
But it's again, they've not changed it since he's like.
No, they're still treating him as a little baby, and everything's okay.
Oh yeah, the father even carries him in like a kid who's sleeping in the car. like it's just bringing the kid to bed.
But then he starts to have these visions of like the weird ones. We also, I would say, the baby on the ceiling. So
Spud with his ball and chain on, because
that's
he's in jail. He's sitting up on top of the dresser.
Whilst the mum and dad coming in with the tea, I need my fix. And then of course he starts to see all his mates through. I think it's good because they just show it through the sheets, like how he shoots it. And then now I'm gonna guess you will not get this next person. I would have done it as a quiz, but I wanted to be funny. So we have a television scene.
We have this show came to America.
Do you know who that is?
Dale Winton. We had Supermarket Sweep here, and And
Was he
I
the
forget.
same guy from Supermarket Sweep?
No, but he did like the first season, and then we had
Oh,
our
okay.
guy that Peter.
I was gonna say,
Okay.
I used to love Supermarket Sweep, but I
Yeah,
don't. I
see, we
didn't
had-
remember him
I'm
being the
going
guy.
to apologize right now. I don't know. It's not. It can't be a secret, but I'm going to out somebody. I'm going to out my girlfriend's brother. He's been on it
Ooh.
twice.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Now,
This
he
is
was on
like
it.
an English
No, no.
version of Supermarket Sweep.
No, yeah. So he went on Supermarket
It was
Sweep.
first.
Lost.
Oh,
Yeah, it
nice.
was
Yeah,
first.
he served,
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
yeah. So he went on Supermarket Sweep and lost. Dal Winton took a shine to him, and he was so naive, didn't realize
Oh
he was
no.
chatting him up.
Oh
He
no.
gave him his number, like that, and
No
I'll get you back
kidding.
on. Yeah, it's because thing. So he went back on, but he's got all this merchandise from Dal Winton.
That's
Oh my
hilarious.
gosh.
And then he went back on and lost the game. So we all take the piss.
Oh,
But
man,
literally,
that's-
it was funny because they play it on like you have them repeat TV channels.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
they play. And literally, it was like, I was like, bullshit. He was on that, and then we turned over, and it was that episode.
No shit.
And it was it's hilarious.
That's
It's like
too funny.
like that 90s cringe as well. When I think he's wearing like a pink jumper. So
Oh
it's
my
like,
gosh.
yeah, it's terrible, but it's one of the most. They'll
That's
never
too
let
funny.
it down. And it worst thing because he's got loads of hair. And now, of course, he's in his mid-50s and he's like bald as anything. So he's like, look at that. He's like, at least trying to be like a chappy. But yeah, it's quite,
that's
it's little, my girlfriend's family, little secret, but yeah, it's like, but yeah, I think
No.
he's gone now, and he died like a
I
few
think
years ago. Didn't
recently.
he? Yeah.
Now, here's
But-
the biggest deviation. Well, one of the biggest deviations from the book to this film is that the book is really expressive about the times in the late 80s, early 90s with HIV, and it carries through the book, the fears, the testing, what's going on in society. And so in this game show, the questions that the quizmaster is asking are around AIDS. And so this is kind of the first you hear of it here in the film. There was one reference, I don't even think they made a reference. I think when Renton is looking for a needle to use, either someone makes a comment or he clearly shows that he's very particular. And in the book, it's very clear that he has a fear. And so he is the only person in their group that stays clean from that respect. Trying to say this as best as I can for YouTube. But here in the film, this is really the first time you're starting to see that there may be something related to HIV and AIDS that is going to come up in this film, because and it's, you can tell it's in the back of his mind because it's in his hallucination here. So it's something that's in the back of his mind. In the film, it's just a little more prevalent.
Yeah, because I think it's like I'm too young, but like it was one of those things. Like everybody's like in the 80s, it was a homosexual disease. Then it was kind of it merged into the 90s as a drug users disease, and then everybody, it could be anybody disease. You know, it was like that kind of, and it was I think they did it well. And I think even when like he when the baby dies, she goes to pick up a needle, and it's very subtle, and he goes, "Oh, not that one." And he picks up a clean one.
Yep.
Yeah. But he goes back to his hallucinations of everything with everybody's in it. You know, he's going a bit crazy, and it's just showing like how there needs to be a passage of time. And I think the only passage of time it really shows is that we do see later that Spud is out of prison. He's not going to serve his full sentence. So what, you're going to half his sentence, maybe? He's going to be like, what, 3 months? So a month from this, and then he goes on. But then we get, of course, on this, the first picture of Tommy Tommy's not Tommy. Tommy's he's taken the addiction to full, hasn't he? So
he's wasting away.
So we get with the nightmares of what Renton is seeing. But this is then, of course, we get is where I'm guessing he gets told you need to take a test.
Mm-hmm.
So he takes of course, HIV test, AIDS test, and whilst he's and I like it, like little again, he's just trying to be comedic. Ouch, and she's like, like what, like that, like things. But then of course, his boredom kicks in. He's now completely clean at the moment, and life is bingo. Life is normal, and he's literally dying to death of boredom. He cannot stand it really anymore. And of course, he then tells him that we get the thing about Tommy. Tommy, unfortunately, he's called AIDS like
And
that.
it's
So
very fast. It's
yeah,
very fast for him.
yeah. So he goes in there, his things, and like from what we previously seen, he's in a nice little flat, kind of like that, simple, bachelor little pad, and now it's just literally mattress in the corner. Everything's been sold, and he is down. And then, of course, Renton kind of listens to his story, and he's like, and he's been there. He's been, not of course with AIDS, but he's been in that position when, of course, have you got a score? Yeah, and he hands him over some notes. And he's like, yeah, and he's like, well, thank you very much. And that's it. So then we get back to
But doesn't he ask him here if he's clean? Is this the scene where?
Oh yeah. He says yeah. And he goes, oh
And
yeah. Did you take the test?
yeah,
And he's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, I'm negative. Oh, well, lucky for you.
yeah,
That was it.
very
That's it.
resentful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like because he introduced him to it, I suppose,
Yep.
like that, isn't it?
He's like,
That's it.
oh great, it's me.
Yeah,
You did this to me, but
yeah.
now it's me who's gonna
Mm.
die this horrible death.
But yeah, but then he smiles. I've got the money. Then he smiles, and then of course, you go on reading a book. Yeah, just life is normal, and of course, Diana turns up. All she wants to know is like she's heard probably the rumors, like she'll get picked up if she goes for a test at being 15. And then she's are you clean? And he's like, yes, I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they go back and she smells some pot as a smoke. They have sex, and then he's like, I can't remember what she says exactly, but she says like, is this life? You need to do something more than be here.
Everything
And
changes. This is when she
yeah,
does her whole, everything changes. Music's changing. Life is, you've got to get out. She's actually the voice of reason here.
yeah.
She is the voice of reason.
Yeah. So into that, we get some tourist attractions of London. Just so that he's in London, but he goes down there to be. I'm guessing you'll call it a realtor, won't you? So real estate.
A real estate agent, yes.
Yes. So and he's enjoying it. He's liking, kind of life at the moment. He's enjoying what he's doing. He's it's all fast paced. He likes the number crunching and taking people around. And he's trying to manipulate people to take the worst flat in London. It's a good, but of
Can I ask,
course,
why is that the worst? It's because of the weird angle? Is it because like
just because it's a busy road, like you got nowhere to
okay,
park,
and the
it's just a bit of
doors
crap.
open when the cars ride by. Okay, I was like, why? They
Yeah.
keep saying, boy, I would live there. I'd live anywhere in London, but and it said the worst flat. And I'm like, what's wrong with that
I
flat?
don't know the junction. I'm guessing it's like Elephant and Castle was really, really busy. It's going to be one of those ones where you're not going to get a good night's sleep. It's going to be like busy 24/7. So I'm guessing that's what they're alluding to there, but I'm not. Yeah, it's just like, it's not a nice flat though. It's not mod con even for the 90s. But but we get Diana. I like this. They're writing letters to each other. I like this. And I guess, Sandy, you like it more that they actually how they're doing communicate because they've got phones.
Yeah.
Like it's not like they won't have landlines, but like no, they're
That's probably long distance to call London, right? It's going to cost more money.
It won't be exactly the same. It would be exactly the same.
Wait.
Yeah.
So in the book that there is a phone call between them in the book because when one of them runs out of money, they said, "Oh, I hear the pips." And I have to remember that's your word for beeps, like when something goes beep, 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 beep. We call that beep.
Oh,
You call it pips. And they were talking about running out of money, and the phone call then got cut off. So yes, that's
okay.
the pips, the
So,
beeps.
was it maybe her calling because he's saving up because we find
Yeah.
out that later he's actually saving his money for what to do with it. We don't know, but at least he's trying to save his money. But yeah, she's trying to tell him a life. What is he talking?
I thought he had like suffered some kind of health issue, like a stroke or something. I didn't expect him to be able to speak right for the rest of the movie, and then
I
after
know
this scene, but then he did. So I
it
don't
does.
know.
It looks like because last time he's been in prison. So yeah,
Mhm.
he could have, but like, yeah, somebody could have really hurt him in prison. They don't, but then you find, yeah, he's just off his nut. Yeah, it's Spud's not really changed. He's literally, yeah, and he's just like, like that. It's just yeah, a little Wookiee scream of her, but it's again, but I like her, she's just like, what, eating her crisps and like don't know, but then she tells everybody what everybody's doing. Sick boy tried to recruit her because now he's a what
He
was it
runs a
called?
brothel.
Brothel, yeah. And he tried to recruit her and she told him no. But also Big B, oh no, what's it? She said something about Tommy that nobody's really seen him lately, and then they say Big B is been on TV a lot because he robbed at gunpoint a jurors, and he's like, oh
You
no,
know who it is. You
yeah,
know who it is.
Francis, yeah, and she calls him Francis, isn't it? Francis, and then of course, yeah, he comes in, hijacks. Why would you give him your address? Oh, I don't know how like that. So, but yeah, sorry. Yeah, but he comes in, tells him the story of like how it was a replica. How could they do him for armed robbery? So he's out on the run. He's hiding from the police. But the jewelry he got was
Fake.
not kosher. Yeah,
It's costume jewelry.
So yeah, he thought it was a thing. So he gets that, and then he's
Moves right in.
Yeah, moves in. Go get me cigarettes. Like that. I like that. He just doesn't care. And then he locks him out. Oh, you still get 7-Eleven, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
they're everywhere.
Yeah, they've actually like taken over most common or more smaller chained convenience stores we used to have around here.
I don't know. Does anybody UK guys, British, like we used to have them a lot, then they just died.
Really?
I didn't even know you had
I feel like ours are taken over.
We used to have 7-Eleven used to be a big thing, especially like maybe it was only a southern thing, but yeah, all like the home counties and London, 7-Eleven everywhere. And then it just stopped. They just disappeared. They were just like,
wow. I was so surprised to see the bat. That's why I thought, wait a minute, are they in London?
Yeah.
And I thought maybe they're in Scotland. I don't remember seeing them, but I rarely get out of London when I'm in,
No, like I don't like. I think it was like you have more like up more. It's like Spa, I think now, and then like you have other ones, but like in the 90s, probably early 2000s, like they all disappeared, and they became like like we have Tesco's, like the main supermarket chain.
I know Tesco's and Sainsbury's.
Tesco, yeah, like then they became like mini chains of them in like where they were.
Yeah,
but it's not.
And we have those now, by the way. We have the little Tesco's Express in different places. So they've attempted to come here. Yeah.
And they're massive in Asia, but it's called Lotus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the shop because they can't pronounce Tesco. Asian people, they can't say Tesco. Apparently, don't know. Yeah, apparently in there, like it's really hard for them to say, so they changed it to Lotus. So if you go over there, it's called Lotus. Yeah, it makes it easier. Yeah, so if you ever go to Thailand or China, let's see Lotus, it's actually Tesco's.
It's a Tesco. Now we know. Now we know.
There we go. But yeah, he's there, knocks on, he's locked the door. It's his own house. He can't get out.
He can't get in. He's bringing groceries home for Begbie. It's like, why am I here?
And he's got his cigarettes going, drinks are going, and you need to put me Doncaster, whatever, 4 o'clock, a bad boy to win £5. He gets his change out, He's probably what's their change.
Do it.
And again,
And he
they
won.
say, yeah, and I like this because this is like again, just this raw emotion of iconic. You see it everywhere. It's just iconic. It's just one of those moments. Like he just won. Yeah, he just betted. So like, yeah, what was it 16-1? So what do they do? Well, same. Here's it. Oh no, like that. He's won. Like the
It's
worst
worse
thing
because he's won. Yeah, it would have been better if he'd have lost, but he's won.
So what does he go? Yeah, we're gonna go on. Trying to go to a night out, of course, and
Party
we get
zone.
the we get in 1,000 years. I put it on Twitter. I can't remember what X or whatever. 1,000 years, we won't have men and women. We'd just have wankers, and that'll be great. Like that. And of course, we see then Bigsby dancing with a lady, and he gives the thumbs up because he's off to the car, and he's making out, and
he makes a discovery.
Yeah, and well, yes, the discovery is there's something that where something should be that shouldn't be, and you could not do this today. You could not. There's no way any independent Hollywood would do this. Of course, it's a transsexual woman in drag. Yeah, man, it's a man baby. Yeah, and of course, it's that I do find it fact it is a comedy moment. Is that the pause, and it's just it's like a little. I'm gonna search, even though there's a pause like that, and yeah, it's and you think like this point. I always, when I first watched you, were like, oh, he's gonna kill him. He's gonna.
Yeah, I did think that his reaction would be violent.
Yeah,
just given the character.
Yeah, and he just, I'm out, and he's just like out the door, more of like, what?
I was shocked by him.
Yeah, and he's just more and more confused because he's got his belt undone. So
he's mortified. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, yeah, I can get the next one, but of course he goes back to the thing and he. Like, well, I can't go like I'm not a woofter or something like that, isn't it? I can't remember what exactly he says, but he's like, no, like, and then calls Renton, does the mistake, and takes the piss, and he gets him up against the things with the blade. Yeah, but yeah, it's a funny. It's not like again, it's just showing another. It's a great by directors as how we can, make a bit of comedy. Like, what was it? What would you call it? Tragic comedy, I suppose you want to call it. Yeah.
Dark
into the
comedy.
moments.
Yeah.
What do they call it? A dark comedy or dramedy type of comedy where it's a little bit more serious.
Yeah, but yeah, so he does that. Yeah. And then of course, who turns up?
There's another ring at the door.
Oh, and then of course, sick boy turns up. They do top and tail. And then of course, having their fish and chips, they're arguing. I can't believe you sold the TV. Yeah, and he goes, and his argument is, but I needed the money. And like, yeah, it's just again, I'm not a friend, and even so, it wasn't even yours. It was rented. It was probably worse, So, and then he's like, comes up with a plan. Oh, do you have a passport? I know somebody, who knows somebody that I met once who walked a dog down the road, who had a cousin, whatever it was, because he comes up, I'm going to put my passport in a safe, like in a locker, make sure you can't get to it. But yeah, from that, we get the bad news that they go back from the dialogue is Tommy's died. And he comes up like, how did he die? Was it like, he goes, well, he didn't realize it was full blown and he had a stroke. But why did he have a stroke? Because of this little cute thing. So he bought a cat to get back in with Lizzie. Lizzie didn't want anything, of course, do with him. And he started getting headaches. So he took more drugs. They gave him a stroke. They put him back after the hospital, left him there. But it was, I can't remember what they call it.
I forget the name of what it was.
Something like, but it's just the cat piss, isn't it?
It was the result of taking in too much of the toxic fumes that come off.
Yeah,
gas,
This
cat,
little
pee, and
cat.
poop.
Yeah, I love that cat. It's a cute cat.
It is a cute cat.
Yeah.
They're evil.
What cats?
Cats are evil.
Why are cats evil? Oh, this is
They're
good. Then go,
devious.
Sandy.
Yeah.
Why?
Just
They-
I'm
smart.
definitely a dog person, but I do like it. I do like cats that are like, I like friendly cats. The ones that like can't be bothered with humans, I can't be bothered with them either. But the cats that are like kind of like dogs, like they come up for a cuddle and lay on your lap, those ones are cool.
Yeah,
it
you
wasn't
can't
my
hear a cat. Like you can hear the
Yeah.
dog, it's coming toward you, but you can't hear a cat. They're sneaky.
Yeah. Now, when I was in the military, I was running down the stairs and then the cat appeared. Now, military boots are very hard. The cat appeared and I kicked it
You kicked
accidentally
it.
running
Ooh,
down the
good for
stairs
you.
with a full Bergen on, and the cat flew out the door and then didn't move. I thought I killed the bloody
Oh,
thing.
good
I was like,
job.
oh my God. I was like, oh my. No, because it wasn't my cat. It was the missus' cat. And I was like, oh my. So I had to get, I was like, I picked it up and it was literally dead weight, completely knocked it out unconscious. And I got in, I was like, oh my, I'm gonna have to like that. And we were going on maneuvers, so I couldn't be late. I was like, oh, please wait. It's literally, and I was like everything on, about to run out of the door. And literally, and it was that moment when you just hit it and it was just like bang, woo, and it went to this like helicopter moment. And I was just like, oh,
That must have been great to
shit.
see.
Oh no, it was them slow motion. I mean, your brain goes into slow motion. You're like, no, take it back. It was just helicopter cat, black cat going in the air. And it's just like, oh no. Survived. It was all right. Just woke, like, put it back down. And then just went, meow, and it just ran. And then never came near me ever again.
See?
Like
Yeah,
that.
rightfully so.
Good result.
I was like, yeah, I'm a dog person. So, but yeah, but I don't mind cats. They're quite easy, I think. But you do get vicious ones.
They're definitely easier. It's the vicious ones that I think give them all a bad name.
Yeah.
You definitely get some easy ones, and they're easy in general.
My cousin had one that was called Garfield, and it used to be evil. They had to put it in a box and tape it up when people came because it would literally attack people. Then it had a thing of trying to attack cars. One day, the car won.
Yeah, eventually it's coming.
Yeah, so that's it. But yeah, so they have their thing. Spud has a little song. I can't understand what he was singing.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you a single lyric, but he definitely has a song.
Yeah, and yeah, so they get on that, and then they go back to they have their private wake back at the den. Let's say that. Where have you told him yet about? It's literally I have a cunning plan.
It is. It is.
So Sick Boy explains that. What's his name? The other. There you go. Got a picture.
Mike.
Of him.
Mike.
And
that's the writer of the book?
Writer of the book.
No kidding. Yeah, I thought he was pretty good in this little
Irvin
role.
Welsh.
It's also what Abe looks like if he ever shaved.
It could be.
Damn it. They know me.
Yeah, but, I can't confirm this, but they can, Abe. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so they've explained that some Russians have got a bag of something, a couple of kilos, and he accidentally bought it when he was drunk with them at wherever, so but he wants to get rid because he's panicking. So they have a great idea, and that is it. They literally have their great idea of, we can get rid of it. We only need $4,000. We're $1,000, and they're like, we need some other. And then Renton, fair play to him, he's literally says, I don't have any money. I don't have $2,000 or anything. And then it's only that Bigsby's been going through his bank statements.
Yeah.
Literally, that you do
have
the money.
$1,962.43. I mean, whatever it was, he knows exactly.
Pounds. Yeah, but he is literally down to the penny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just like,
what a psycho.
You're not friends. Yeah, but that's it. He's just going for, I'm here for, I'm in it for myself again. So yeah, they go to he's den to try it out, and of course they know Renton's clean.
Clean.
But Begsby doesn't trust Spud.
Nope.
Tommy doesn't want to do it because he's been clean. So it's like, they have to put him back on it. And again, he just goes back into it because they're on. I'm guessing they're on a bus or coach down to London, what would be absolutely awful. But I'm guessing they don't want to go
What
through
is it,
any.
like 5 hours?
Oh my God, like 8.5.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it got to be like,
That'd be awful.
it's got to be like, there'd be. If you go from North London to Sunderland's going to take you 5 back in the 90s. Yeah, probably 6. So it's got 8 hours getting to Edinburgh, like through central London. Yeah, it's going to be 8 hours. Got to be easily. But yeah, he's doing a monologue of again. Oh, I just need one more before we get down there. And it's not for him. It's to piss off Begbie because he's made me do it. So he's just going to have one more. So he's got that. And then, of course, but then he shows like this misfit, how we're going to do this deal. So they're going down to London to sell the kilos to a known, I'm guessing, pusher. And of course, they're all getting ready, trying to spruce themselves up to make themselves look a bit decent. So Spud puts on some glasses. But again, it's iconic shot.
Iconic glasses. Yep.
Yeah. And of course, this is where I had the walk, but I couldn't get the picture of the walk. It was too quick, but they walk on. Now I'm guessing this was shot just by the look of the buildings. This is south of Regent's Park. Just has to be.
Oh wow.
Like
Okay.
That. Yeah. So they get that. So because you do get you still got them dodgy hotels there that have been there for a while, and you're like, damn. There's some hotels that are dodgy and they're owned by embassies. Let's say that.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
there's one in Swiss Cottage that is, everybody knows it is owned by the North Korean embassy, and it's just full of prostitutes. And so there you go.
Well,
It's
I will
owned by
make
the
sure I cover that on my next
Yeah.
embassy tour of the United Kingdom the next time I'm there.
Yeah, there's a crossroads.
I
of,
actually
Swiss
stayed
Cottage,
at
and that's it.
St. John's Wood the last time, or 2 times ago. I stayed in St. John's Wood, so I know that area very well.
I used to live there. Swiss Cottage, and St.
But it's
John's.
it's just north of St. John's
Yeah,
Wood,
yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
I used to live there. Yeah, there you go. I've lived everywhere. But yeah, so we got the good tash for the 90s. That's a good tash. Can't be a good tash. So yeah, they get in there, and I can't remember this guy. He's a songwriter, I'm sure, and a playwright. This actor on the right.
Not sure.
Guys, who is it? And I was like, I'm bugging me. I was like, I can't remember who it is. And I couldn't find who it was on IMDb. But I'm
Keith
sure
Allen?
Keith
Allen.
I'm sure he's he does music and he's a playwright as well, like in his own right.
Oh, is that Lily Allen's dad? I think it is.
Yeah.
And also, so if it is, actor, playwright. I think if that's Lily Allen's dad, then
has to be.
The son is Alfie Allen, who was in Game of Thrones, who is
yes.
What's his name? What's the character's name?
From the Battle of the Bastards. Oh.
Yeah,
Ramsay Bolton?
No, the other one.
No,
the one
the
that
other one,
Ramsay the one
Theon
that Ramsay Theon Greyjoy.
Theon,
yeah, that's Lily Allen's brother, and that's Keith Allen's son. Yep, that's them.
There you go. And what did you say at the beginning? The other guy was in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
The dad.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, that's right.
Comes around. There we go.
It is.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're all panicking. They go and test, of course, the merchandise. And of course, they want 20 grand. The guy offers them.
Terrible negotiators.
Oh my, I can't. Yeah, 15.
15.
It's 15.
Can you do 19?
Like,
15.
Yeah, I can't do more than that. And then what? Well, fucking do. Was it like do
16?
16, isn't it? And they're like, well,
just to try to get to make him feel like he got something.
And he knows he's in for a win. He's like, yeah, I'll take that. So they get that, and then they go out to have a little celebration, let's say. And again, it's not good, a not good celebration, let's say that. So they're at the pub. They're all having a laugh at their win. And then of course we get then Renton goes to Spud. Fancy it. Because he's the only one he probably trusts. He feels a bit sorry for,
Probably,
I think.
yeah. He
Yeah.
also
And,
doesn't feel threatened by him. He feels threatened by the others.
and and he's like, what? Nope. Yeah. So he pulls like he really like he doesn't have like it shows him like he's a bit of an again. He's like, no, because yeah, they should just take the money and run like that. But of course, whilst that happening, of course, Bigsby is off to go and get a drink. Oh, and of course, and he's obviously he didn't move around. He pushed through the crowd, the little bull crowd of three. I think he purposely did this.
Oh yeah, because
So,
the adrenaline's rushing. He just scored. Now he's got to beat somebody up. He just has to.
Yeah. So yeah, we get a bunch of like, well, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I didn't mean to do it. And he gets to the point where most people are like, well, you're not taking my apology. Fuck off then. Like that. And that's what the guy kind of says. Unfortunately, he doesn't know. Yeah, who he's against, and he just literally can't show much. Yeah, he throws, well, literally puts the whole pint in his face, glasses the poor fellow, and takes out a knife, goes to get him. Whereas Spud, rightly so, steps in the way, but then gets his hands sliced up. Yeah, and he just goes for it. Who wants it then? Anybody else wants to talk back, and then we're like, nope. Yeah, so again, it's showing his colors of what he is. It's like that. It's not nice. And then again, there's what you said, Sandy, earlier, is the bullying tactics with him and Renton about, oi, Brent boy, bring us a cigarette and bring us the bag. And he slowly, gets it, and no, not just give me a cigarette. I want you to light it for me. Then give me the cigarette. So he's like, just that dominance, that
psychological dominance. Yep.
Yeah, it's just it's horrid. So yeah, but then that fades into them at the hotel, all sleeping, except for Renton. He is awake, and he gets up, puts his shoes on, goes to the sink to get ready. Like that, he's preparing himself. Has a bit of water, gets back, and then he gets to the door. Gets the bag now off Begsby because he's been hugging it. They're all asleep. Gets to the door, but then who spots him? Spud, and like you just see that single tear. Just the things, but not at this things. You can see look how much blood they didn't take him to hospital. They just let him. Nope, because there's going to be questions. There's still
wrapped
going
a
to be
handkerchief
questions.
around his, half sliced off hand. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he looks, gives him, please don't, and he just nods him back, opens the door,
and he's off,
and he's gone. No looking back, and that's it. And this will be like another, I suppose, dialogue of what he's doing, about choose life, and the reverse of what he said at the beginning is now, what thing. So he gets there, gets his passport, leaves some money. Of course, we know who it's for.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we get outside the hotel room. We can hear Bigsby smashing up the place, going absolutely mad. Of course, the owner calls the cops.
And he's already wanted. Remember, he's a wanted man anyway.
Yeah. And then we kind of get, I can't remember what Bridget is, but then we get like the things about, I'm going to be just like you guys. I'm going to have a TV, a mortgage, like that. And then the movie kind of ends, goes into Trainspotting until we get, hey. He did, it's fun. Now I always think this. I was like, but he's just going to spend it on drugs.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah. That's it.
But at least Renton can say he did right by him. So
that's it. Yeah, he did. One person was right. Tom. Yeah. There's a sick boy. Yeah, shouldn't need it. big speed. He definitely shouldn't have it. Yeah, so it like does it. Yeah, things like that. But yeah, it's good. But Sandy, over to you.
Over to me. Well, let's go back to a few of the notes on this film, just so that we can kind of reset where we are. So we've mentioned and we've seen Mr. Irvin Welsh, who wrote the book Trainspotting. I looked it up. It actually was published in 1993. So just if
Okay, still good
just
turnaround though.
Yeah, yeah.
it was an international success. It is again, it's a really well written book. It makes me think of James Joyce, but for those of you who don't like James Joyce, and it's not my cup of tea, that kind of stream of consciousness writing, but this is good. So this is good versus James Joyce, but the style is reminiscent. Directed by Danny Boyle, you know who it's starring. And we mentioned that although it was set primarily in Edinburgh, and there are scenes filmed on the streets of Edinburgh. The filming itself was done in Glasgow, and of course um, the scenes in London. Now let's talk about how it did at the box office. Let me pull that one up. So, and you mentioned it, James, that this was released in the UK and in Europe first to see how it would do. And then it was later released in the United States. And it did fairly well. But this was definitely a box office success. It had, and I do apologize. I use dollars because unlike some other British films we looked at, the numbers I had were in dollars, not in pounds. So my apologies. But this is the dollar equivalent. So $4 million budget, which is about
We
8.3.
call it monopoly money. It's okay.
Yes, it's about
That's what we
8.3
call
million.
yours. Go figure.
Yeah, because yours is much more colorful for sure. And plastic now, by the way. British pounds are plastic. It's so
Plastic.
weird.
Ew.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
it's really weird. Somebody gave me one like
They're very
today.
slippy.
Oh my god!
Do you
Yeah,
have
like you
Charlie
can.
money yet? Is it King
Oh no,
Charles?
they don't have. But you can actually look. So this is the new thing,
Yeah.
like that. But you can actually just do that,
And then it comes
get it
back.
up, and then it comes literally just goes back.
It's really weird.
Huh. That's
So you can't
interesting.
you
It's like
can't rip it.
Mylar.
It's like
Yeah.
you cannot rip these things. So it's really weird. Like I don't know if you can like that. It's really weird.
It sounds papery, but definitely different.
Yeah, it's weird, but yeah, it's got like this color film in it, so like that holograms and stuff like. No, but I think I've got 150p of Charles, but that is it. So Charles III, yeah, I've got 150p, and then that is it. But I think his money's supposed to start coming into circulation very soon, but they're gonna drop the numbers of what the circulations any other one, because most people do card.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like,
Well,
yeah, they're dropping the circulation.
When I was last in the UK, they must have thought I was casing banks because I went to so many different banks to ask. And they said it was in circulation, but they didn't have it. So I was going to all these banks with my, 100 pounds of Queenie money, trying to exchange it for King Charles money.
See,
So
you should have said I could have given you my 50p.
Oh, next time
Yeah.
I'll let you know. And I gave Applesauce some American money, so maybe he and I can work out a trade. Maybe I don't know. Actually, with my security clearance, I don't know if that's allowed. I don't think I can mail money, but we'll work something out. But as for the box office, the film made 71.5 million, 148 million adjusted for. So it was more than a 10 times return on the investment. Obviously, a small budget film, really and truly. It did win the BAFTA for Best Screenplay. It was nominated for the Oscar for Best Screenplay as well, but it did not win that year. It did win Scottish BAFTAs and had several nominations. So it won for Best Film and Best Actor for Ewan McGregor, and Robert Carlyle and Kelly MacDonald also received nominations, as did the writer. And I did put a note here. I do recommend watching both films back to back, as I did this time. T2's Trainspotting 2 takes place 20 years in the future, as the film was made 20 years after Trainspotting. All of your characters will reappear, and they appear, I think, in very appropriate ways. For example, Diane shows up. She's in the film about as much as she is in this film, and she has a really great, hers is a really good character. And I mentioned as we were talking about this film that I think she was the only one speaking sense. Her future path is a very, it's a good future path, and you can see she's used her common sense to get to a better place. Um, all of the characters, there's, I would say, it's a sequel with fan service without obvious fan service. It just feels like a natural continuation to the story, but it also provides backstory. So please, I am not putting this anywhere near in the character of the Godfather 2, but the way Godfather 2 gives you that backstory, that's what Trainspotting 2, in a very different way, gives you backstory. And as I mentioned, focusing more on Begbie and Spud, where this film is focusing more on Renton and Sick Boy.
Is 2 a
Even
book then as well?
So 2 takes some elements from the book, but there's
Okay.
additional work there. So no,
Okay.
and I'll have to look to see if they did write a book, it
Mm.
would be a kind of a short story, because some of what's in T2 is included in the book Trainspotting.
You think you mean Terminator 2?
I know, but it's
I
called
do think that every
T2.
time
I
I hear
know, but it's
T2.
called T2.
Yeah.
The second film
Yeah.
is definitely called T2. I know.
That'd be great if Arnie turns up.
But I would
You
say
will not do drugs again. Hasta la vista, baby.
it's really hard to find sequels that make you feel, like it meets the expectations of the original, right? And let's take the obvious off the table, Lord of the Rings, let's throw that in its very own category there. But films, I certainly wouldn't put this in Godfather 1 and 2 category, but I would put it in the category of Alien, Terminator, T2. I would put this in that category where the two go together really well and tell a complete story. I also think it's fantastic that all the original actors came back to do this, and they all give tremendous performances in the second film. And I thought they were all very good in the first, but I think in the second,
Yeah.
even
did make
the
me
dad is
say,
back.
my girlfriend said, "Oh, we need to watch it because if we did watch it, I can't remember it, but we think we just bypassed it." So yeah, it made us give it a go. I don't know why we didn't watch it. I think it's one of those, fortunately, Trainspotting. I think it's one of those movies that you go, "Oh, but do you really want to take that much time?" And if it's something else, I think it just went past. But
it is, it's an emotional investment to watch this film. So yeah, and then I did not make sometime I make a third chart. My first chart is always on notebook paper. It's the notes. I don't know if y'all realize this. My second chart is always on ledger paper because it's the numbers. And sometimes I have a third part, which is on musical, sheet music paper. I did not do it this time, although one must talk about the music when you talk about this film. The reason I didn't do my own is because as much as I love the music in this film, I don't know this music. It is not in, this British music was only a little bit of it was here. So Iggy Pop was here. I didn't know Iggy Pop. I did not know Blur. I did not, there's a lot I didn't know. Now in T2, you get more of the punk era that we do know. So there's Blondie and there's some other song, and there's also more Iggy Pop. Some of the music that did come over here. I think there's also there's Queen, there's in T2, like I knew all the songs from there. But here I know the songs because I've heard them, but I don't know enough about, especially the techno music and all that. I just don't know it.
It was very clever how they introduced or purposely sold it to DJs. They do the remixing. So they had a lot this era, literally every kind of club like that. It was like literally to this soundtrack, and it made it.
Soundtrack.
So the soundtrack to the movie was a movie of the life in the mid-90s. Anywhere you went, where there was like a club, they would play all this, and I mean like
all
that.
The
and then of course then it became mainstream, and then all the radio started doing it. But then high DJs, and I'm not a DJ fan, they would all remix everything. So everywhere you would go, all that music, everywhere. And then, of course, because it was the music, you have other films that would play onto that soundtrack. So it was just everywhere. It was everywhere. So yeah, but yeah, you have that British kind of 90. It is so 90s music. It's literally it's terrible.
It is. I was in high school and college during those years, so it was. I was more into the metal, into the obviously we're heading toward Nirvana and the grunge sound here, but we were, like I said, we thought British things were really cool. We loved our James Bond, and yes, we loved our Doctor Who, and so anything, and the Brit boy bands were great. We loved Wham, and we loved.
It was terrible. Like that, like that 90s. You had Kurt Cobain died 94. Guns N' Roses split up in 95, I think 94, 95, and then Spice Girls formed up. There you go. The death of music. The death of music. Literally. Kurt Cobain, Guns N' Roses, Spice Girls. Yes, we've won.
What a trade-off.
Yeah, what a trade-off. And then you had that. I don't mind some of the music of Blur. Like they're okay. Like
see, I don't know. There's some of those like we don't.
Oh, what song 2 is really good. I think that's probably their best. The thing it's a bit heavier, but they go a bit quirky. I think Mark Albrand, I think his name is. He's quite a good writer. But then you had that, and then you had the thing with Oasis.
I've only heard of the thing that's the brothers trying to kill each other kind of thing.
Well, they just don't like each other. So
they don't like each other. Yeah. That's but I like Take That.
Then that's pop, isn't it? That's pop.
Whatever I said, whatever I did.
But then, like the greatest band of the 90s for British one was a band called Bush, and they didn't sell over here, and they were massive in America.
Okay, I've heard of them, but
I didn't realize Bush was British.
Yeah, Bush is after where I think Shepherd's Bush.
I could only
West London. Yeah,
I can only think of a handful of songs. If even I wouldn't be able to name them, I'd have to hear them to know them. But
Swallow.
I have heard of them a bit. Yeah, I did not realize they were British. That makes sense.
Yeah, so he married. Was it? What's his name? What's his name? He was on. He married the woman from. Who's that? I'm just a girl.
Gwen Stefani.
That's it, Gwen Stefani. Yeah. Gavin Rossdale. That's it, Gavin Rossdale.
Oh, Gavin. Okay.
That's it.
I do know those names.
Yeah. So they're the everybody's like this one of those, them quiz questions. Who is the biggest British rock band of the 90s? And everybody will go Blur or Oasis, but the actual true answer is no, it's Bush, because Bush was the only one who made it in America.
I would never
but never made it in the UK. Did got some fans, but made it massive in the UK, America, but not really well. The thing is, it was always Oasis and Blair, but Oasis and Blair never made it to America, so didn't get the money. So it's a little fun fact.
I would say Oasis had a couple hits that made it over here. Stop Crying Your Heart Out, Wonderwall, obviously, but outside of that, they never really got much traction here.
But so Sandy, your scores then.
I don't want to go first. This was my pick. I get to go last, don't I? So Jay,
go on.
Let's hear from you.
Okay. Well, so here's the thing with this movie. It's one that I watched for the first time when I was much younger. I want to say I was in high school. Not want to say. I know I was in high school. And I remember all of my buddies loving it and being like, oh, that movie was crazy, like blah, 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 all these things. So I ended up watching it. And I walked away from it not feeling like I got what they got out of it. And I hadn't watched it since. I spoke to Sandy earlier about this before we started the show. This, to me, reminded me then, and it reminded me again on this second watch, of a movie like Requiem for a Dream. I don't think it's as dark as that one is. I think this one tries to have a lighter tone. But regardless, at the end of the story, it's just such a hard watch in terms of like the awful things that happen, that it's not one I tend to want to go back to, even though I can credit it as a good movie. So the second watch, I was curious to see, like, finally going back to it again all these years later, would it differ for me? And it definitely did from a technical aspect. I can certainly see now better than I could then why it's been so iconic and just loved for years in terms of what it was as a film. As you know, I think people will reference it as some people will, at least, as Danny Boyle's masterpiece, or a masterpiece by Danny Boyle. And I can definitely see why. I think it's filmed really wonderfully and artistically from a visual standpoint. I think it's written really well, acted very well. Some of the dialogue in there is actually pretty interesting as well, especially kind of like the opening dialogue when you hear about his perspective of the kind of average life versus the life he chooses and things like that. It makes for, and I think just an interesting commentary on drugs in general in society, because it doesn't seem like drugs in Scotland have been any more different than the way drugs affect people here or in any other country. I mean, drugs are drugs that tend to have the same kind of effect on people and how it, destroys lives. So I think it's an interesting social commentary that's definitely applicable now, maybe now more than ever, to be honest with you. So for all those reasons, I do appreciate and respect the movie, and technically and all that, I think it's really well done. So I give it a 7 score, probably even a 7.5, to be honest with you. The problem for me is this is where, watching it, I kind of felt like I understood Stasis with Whiplash a little bit better. It's just a movie I don't enjoy watching, maybe for different reasons in that case. So I give my entertainment score of it like a 5, but the credit for what it is as a movie about a 7.5. I think it's really well done. It's just something about the subject matter. It's not that it's, I don't want to say it's too difficult to watch. Like, I have no issue watching stuff about drugs and that kind of stuff. It's more that it just feels so depressing when you leave it. Like the way lives can just exist and end so depressingly, is just, I don't know, makes for a tough story to get through. So it's one that I don't necessarily enjoy going back to. And I say the same thing about Requiem for a Dream. I've watched that movie, I think, twice. And I don't really intend to watch it again. I think it's a good movie and I recommend it to people. I don't enjoy watching it. And I don't enjoy the feeling you kind of have after leaving it, where you're just like, damn, that was depressing as hell. Some people live these brutal, brutal lives that are just, maybe self-inflicted, maybe not, who knows? I know that debate. I'm not going to get into the drug and addiction debate. But whichever way you look at it, it's a horribly dreadful life in a lot of ways. And it's just a tough story to get through. So, for the film as it exists, I think it's a very strong 7.5. Well done, well acted, well written. Visually, very artistic, very edgy, which I think was probably a huge hit, or a reason it was a huge hit in the 90s. I think at times I'll bring the score down a little bit too, just because, you know what, I might actually settle on a 7, because I do think at times it tries to be a little too artsy, a little too edgy, and that kind of brings it down a bit for me. So I'll actually probably land on a solid 7 for the movie itself. My entertainment purposes and watching it, I say, is probably about a 5, only because it's just a tough story to get through. And I just can't say that it's like that movie where it's like anytime it's on, I'm stopping to watch it. So definitely a recommend. Very good in all the ways that it's done. Just tough watch. Maybe it's one that you can watch multiple times. Maybe it isn't. That's kind of going to be up to the individual.
Well
Fair
said.
point. But now, you're a bit of a git, because that's probably exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say.
I'm glad I went first.
Yeah, no, I was going to say an English accent. Literally, I feel exactly the same.
Yeah,
It's really weird. And like on this rewatch, I kind of dislike the movie more. And I mean that. I would have said I think
I almost dislike the characters more, because I'm an adult now.
Yeah.
Like I think there is that bit of, and sorry not to interrupt your review here, but I think that little bit of kind of what we talked about at the beginning, where people in Scotland might have wondered, or people in general might have wondered, was this glorifying the drug life or not? I think when you watch it younger, like I did the first time, and me and my friends did, there is that punk rock feel to it. It does almost feel to it. Obviously, awful things happen in the movie. You even recognize that as a kid. But if you're kind of just like a silly kid watching it, like I was, the gravity of it doesn't really hit you, like with the baby scene and all that. And I think maybe just the timing of when I watched it now, it really made me just dislike these characters even more, because they're just terrible people.
Well, that's the thing. Like when I first, there was hype around this movie. I think because it was like edgy, it's something that nobody had seen before. Completely agreed. Did I like the movie when I first watched it? I would give it a 7 when I first watched it. I would go, I didn't get it. I enjoyed it, but then it's not one I'm going to go, oh, Trainspotting, watch that on the on a Friday night. I'm
in a good mood. Let's watch Trainspotting.
Yeah,
it doesn't really happen.
But that's the thing. Like when you remember, and I think like before I did this rewatch, and I think Jade even said it. You remember how well it's shot. The
Yeah.
acting is very good. Like even the
It's
dialogue
like it's
and the monologue.
undeniably good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's like everything like that. And then you just when you watch it, like, you know what? I actually don't like the concept of the movie.
Right.
I like everything around, and I get what they were doing. Do they glorify it? I think probably back in the day when I was like, you know, in my
Yeah.
teens, I probably didn't think that. But now, got a kid as an adult, you're like, oh, I can see why there was that polarization and the backlash
Right.
of like what was happening. Yeah, you get grumpy in your old age, but I'm like, yeah, was it there? Was there edit? Was it really well edited? Yes. Was it some things edited out? 100%. Danny Boyle does an amazing job. I think tick, 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 tick. Love it. I love the stylization, and you get that more as you get into more movies. You get a little bit older. You understand. Oh, that took effort. That was great.
Mhm.
I get what you're doing. Sandy's even educated us today with the color aspect of it. What makes me want to watch it just for that aspect. But would I watch it again if I didn't catch it on TV? And I wouldn't. You know, I'm not gonna go and search for Trainspotting. I'm not.
Mhm.
Um,
I'd
but
almost
I
have to be like showing it to somebody for the first time to watch it again.
but yeah, exactly, because it's a movie that you go, you need to watch this. You need to recommend it. It's a recommendation. Recommendation is a 10 out of 10. If you either recommend it,
Yep.
it's a 10 out of 10 because it opens your eyes up to a genre. It's a great British film. It's a dark British film. How, if you're budding into movies, and I think we've said this before in other movies, that are just how it's shot. Educate yourself, how it's done. Look how they transition. It's clever. It's clever. But would I go back to this movie? I don't know. Would I watch Trainspotting 2? Yes, because I want to know the continuation, because it intrigues me. That's the problem to me, because it's not one that I go, oh, you know what? That's a dark. What's a good one? Trying to think of a really gritty, dark movie that, you know, like bit depressing, but you go back to. I can't think of one off the
Yeah, of course. Now I'm stumped
yeah,
too, but I know what
you
you
know
mean.
what about, you know, you get in the movies, you're like,
I was gonna say Taxi Driver, but that's not one that I ever want to watch
no.
again. It was like that.
Midnight Cowboy. There we go. Midnight Cowboy is a bit depressing and everything, but I
Yeah.
like that movie. I think it's like a very artsy movie, but very, very well done. It's got a great thing, but it's a bit depressing. It's got depressing characters. But this one, yeah, I just found it this time. I was just like, oh, I thought I liked this movie. I thought I did. Now I would give it a 7. I'm just not going to knock it down to a 6. I'm going to knock it down to 6. I don't think it's a hard watch, as Jay said, like to a 5. I'm just going to go, yeah, it's a 6. It's not bland, because it's good. It's like it, because you got to remember those iconic scenes, those iconic the things that were around it. But of course, the bits in between it is a bit of a. It's not an enjoyable watch. It's a watch, but it's not enjoyable. The bits that are the iconic ones, you go, oh, I like that. It's funny. But that, yeah, I'm 100% with Jay. I can't add much to that. So yeah, it wouldn't have been. I must say, I've got a lot of British movies on the wheel, as we know, and as one ones. I wouldn't even put it. I wouldn't have put it on it. I must say, it wouldn't have been my pick. So that's why I said it was like for the. Not being rude, but an American to put it on. It was quite.
It's definitely it's definitely a kind of. I don't want to say cult classic, because it's definitely bigger than that here, but it's one that like you find in your teenage years almost always. Like I'm sure there's high schoolers now watching Trainspotters for the first time, or Trainspotting.
Yeah, but it's even like the the logo, the orange. Like it's iconic, isn't it? Just like that.
Yeah,
like you didn't get
poster,
like it's our first one. Our the logo that I always put on the thumbnail. It's the first one that has a border, because it actually has an orange border, like the border. Everything else is like, you know, a clear through wording. So I was like, that's again, it's just that kind of. It looks like a what's it? A rave poster. You know, like that kind of going like that. Yeah. So yeah, it gives that. So everything about it, it's you got that. They've nailed the 90s, that you know, what you said, 93. So you look at 1990 to 97. That's Great Britain. That is every place you could imagine. that is like that. You've got clubs like that. You've got a little in your little community. You've got that road. That is that road. You've got everything like that, and it's kind of that. So yeah, so to get that, Danny Boyle got it right. He literally
Mhm.
he's got I've used my real life experiences off this guy's book to get it on the page. So I 100% appreciate that. And I though I dislike the movie on the rewatch, it's one of the movies you need there. You need this movie in cinematography, like in similar history, I suppose, like that,
Yep.
because it
Yeah,
needs
I
to be
agree.
there. But yeah, it's great. Oh, I just thought, it's just maybe getting cynical, getting old fart, Jay. We're getting old.
Yeah, I think cynicism was more in style when I was a young teenager with
Yeah.
teenage angst. Now that I'm older, I'm like, come on, man, just enjoy life, make the best
Yeah.
of it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's a really well done movie. There's no denying
Mm.
that. I don't think from anybody. It's just tough material, tough watch.
Mm. Yeah. So there you go, Sandy, as
It
your
is.
pick.
It was my pick, and really, it's for all the reasons you've mentioned. There are so many iconic scenes. The way it was shot is so artistic, and you can see the care that Danny Boyle takes for this film. Um, I I was thinking about, and definitely not on the same level as this film, but Slumdog Millionaire is another one of his films that I've
Oh yeah,
watched
it is.
once
Yeah.
and I'm
Yes.
not going to
Yep.
watch it again. It's a hard
Mm.
watch. It has a happy ending, but I don't want to see that film again. That's a hard film to
Mm.
watch. Um, I, as I mentioned, um, I had to kind of step back from this film because we've talked about films where like we don't like any characters. We don't like the, but you kind of don't have to.
Mhm.
That's not it's not a requirement of a good film that you have characters you like. You can dislike all the characters and the film can still be a good film. And I think that is this film. Um, I also think I try to feel sorry for them because of addiction and because of the circumstances they're in, but it's really hard. It's
Yeah.
hard to feel any sympathy for them because they don't have any sympathy for anyone else. Every one of these characters is in it for themselves.
Mhm.
Um, are they awful people? Yeah. Do they care for each other? Not not really. Maybe deep, deep, deep down, there's some little sense of care. They do need each other though, because they're all they've got.
Mhm.
Um, and I would have left it at that until I saw Trainspotting 2 and read this
Sorry,
book.
Sandy's back there. Do you think they cut out bits with Tommy so you wouldn't feel that
Well,
emotion because he's
yeah.
the only one
Yep. I
you
It's
was
do
just
actually
thinking that.
possible
feel
that they
sorry
did
about?
so little with him. You're
Mm.
absolutely right.
He's the only good person, the only one
Yeah.
who just is truly like a victim of the drugs and really isn't
Yeah.
harming anybody else other than himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. Or otherwise it becomes Tommy's movie, right? And you do feel for him. And we do as an audience, you still have to step back and say, "Oh, what an awful circumstance." Um, but I think as good as I think the film is, I think this film plus the sequel make the complete story.
Mhm.
And the cinematography holds up in the second film, and the story is rounded out, not changed, but rounded out in the second film. I give this film a 7.5, but I give the combination of the two films an 8
Interesting.
because they make one complete story.
Mhm.
It's not a good story. It's not a happy. It's
Right.
not a happy ending. But I don't need happy endings. Uh, do I appreciate any of the characters in the second film? Nope. Is there anybody
Mhm.
I admire? Maybe one person. Um, do I feel sorry? No. Is it a good story? Yeah, it's a good
Mhm.
story. Um, I think I will watch that film again because this was the first time I had seen the sequel. So I think I will watch that one again to see what I missed. Um, but for those who are interested in film as an art, this is a must see.
Mhm.
I do recommend it. I do recommend the book. I give the book an 8 as I score my books. Um, and also, I think when I look at this film and look at where these actors went, what a great launching pad for some pretty amazing careers. You know, Ewan McGregor and this was Kelly MacDonald's first real film, and
Mm.
Robert Carlyle had been on stage and had done some, but I love his work. I absolutely love his work. I love him in The Full Monty, and it's easy to kind of fall back into just a little bit of sympathy for him in this film because of his other films, because in The Full Monty, he's also out of work. He's not on drugs. He's out of work, and, you know, but, I do appreciate the performances in this film so much. And I
Oh,
think
he
it's
does. You seen that? I can't remember the name. It gives me an R. He's in it, and he plays a Scottish Union soldier that goes, and then it turns into like a cannibals horror movie in the American Civil War. Oh, it's called it's not The Reverence, but it's called something like that. Oh,
a
it's really good.
cannibals horror movie?
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, weird, but like Civil War, cannibals, Robert Carlyle. It's really good. It's actually, I can't remember. Abe will know it. Abe, I'm going to give it
I'm
out to you
looking
because
for
he
it
knows.
now. I'm looking for it
Yeah,
now.
it begins with an R. Definitely begins with an R. It's like
With an R.
Reverent, but it's like that. It's not. It's
Begins
really
with an
good.
R. American Civil War?
Yeah, American Civil War. American Civil War. It's not like it's loose. It's only the time period is on that. Yeah, but it's
Begins with an R.
yeah. Have a look
Well,
with an R in these things. Like it's like 2000s.
Ravenous? Oh my God.
That's it. Ravenous. That's it.
Good grief.
Yeah. It's really good though. It's a really understated, really good movie. It's like, because everybody in it acts it really well, but it's about this, like, yeah, it's
Oh my
what do
word.
you do? Yeah, it's really good. Really good. Really
Guy
good.
Pearce, David Arquette, Robert
Mm.
Carlyle. Okay,
It
we're
is-
gonna have to.
yeah.
Yeah, we might have to.
Have a watch it. It's good. It is a good,
As
good
silly
movie.
as it sounds, we might have to check it out. Okay.
Do it. Yeah, if you like a little bit of a, like it's not a gore horror
Not
because
historically
it doesn't
accurate.
go things, but it's like, yeah, it's good. It's good. Watch it. Yeah.
Well, I will do that. And I will watch several other films that many of these actors have acted in since then. So, well, thank you. As always, gentlemen, I appreciate these films more because I get to talk about them with you and hear your impressions and your
No, it was
assessments.
good. It's
likewise.
Good. It was one of them things, like when it came up, I was like, good. Like that, because I've not seen it for a while, so it was good. But yeah, it's good. The wheel always does its bidding.
The wheel.
But,
And
I
next
have to
week,
say, yeah, I was gonna say next week is the first ever mystery, I suppose. Like, it came up with James's action film, so I went with Cheese, Jade. You had to bow a little bit early, but Demolition Man.
No, I was in chat. I was in chat for the pick,
Yeah,
so I got
saw
to
it,
see
yeah.
it. Yep.
But Jay, did you hear me call it would be a Wesley Snipes movie before he spun the wheel? I did predict the Wesley.
I have to go back. I've not seen it.
Well, when you're thinking of 90s action, it's Stallone, Arnold, Wesley. I mean, those are your guys.
You know what? I just wanted. You know what?
Steven Seagal, maybe.
Yes,
it's
Steven
great
Seagal.
talking pot. It's great talking pot because it's past now what they believe would have happened. I believe it's like, like it starts off in like 90s and then it kind of goes into like what we're just catching up on.
Mm-hmm.
But like, and yeah, it's a little bit of cheese, but a bit of fun, isn't it? And Taco Bell.
I've actually never seen it, so this will be a first watch for me.
Oh, haven't you?
I've only seen it once.
This one.
I don't remember.
I remember
much
it
of
always being on TV when I was younger, but as a kid, I just had no interest in watching it.
There you go.
I was too young when it was on.
There you go. It's a good fun one. So I was like, let's go for fun. But also, I have to ask, this is Sandy's decision. I got kind of told off, Sandy, because of you, because of Partner's Pick we've put on.
Why did you get told off?
Because it was like, do you know how long that will take me? What genre? What do I need to do? And I got kind of like, I was like, you can pick anything.
I'm sorry,
anything,
Jade, I do apologize.
Well, if I get Partner's Pick, it's easy because it's going to be one of the Sex and the City movies. It's the only movie she'll have watched.
That is what's happening now. Apparently, it's being aired tonight in the UK. Something's being aired, and she was like, "You know what I've got tonight?" And I was like, "Well," she went, "Sex in the City," and I was like, "Oh no, you three need to do a podcast, not Jay." Not Jay.
No, I'm good. I'm out on that.
Yeah.
I
I'll
already
put
know way
those
too
two
much
on a
about
podcast
Sex
with
and the
my
City.
my God.
husband, and my
Oh
God,
my
that-
God, Jay, don't let your girlfriend, wife pick Sex and the City. Oh my God.
I don't know what other movie she would pick. That's her.
Imagine
That's
my
her
that.
jam.
husband will be all for it.
That
He's
is
into
her
the girly
jam.
movies.
Oh no.
Oh yeah,
Just watching the the
he
disappointment.
Trying to
likes
think.
Abe,
Oh
pop
no,
music
there's.
too.
You know
Be
what?
careful.
There's
Abe
one-
Highlander, Daryl, Gamze, AWOL, all love them. So that's it.
I actually know
before we
exactly what my wife would pick. It's Sleeping with the Enemy. Is that one? That's from like
Okay,
the
yeah.
90s, right? That's
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Oh.
that's the one she would pick. She loves that movie.
Okay.
I've never seen it. Wait, maybe I have. Is that Julia Roberts?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Julie
Julia
When
Roberts.
she's dating like the
yeah.
abusive guy or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or she
Yes.
leaves the abusive guy
Mm.
and like
Yeah.
goes to some woodland area or something.
If it's not that, you'd be like, oh damn.
I've seen it once before.
Yeah.
That would probably be her pick.
There we go. Yeah. But before we go on to the wheel, so I put Renton famously chose not to choose life. But what would you choose? Guys, I'm going to ask you the same question. Wiping bums in a nursing home, a haggis kebab with
No.
extra chilies, eating Spud's morning chocolate,
Well, definitely not that one.
or a romantic getaway with Bigsby.
I'd take the haggis, I think. I think I
Yeah,
would.
50% so far.
I don't think I have another option there.
Yeah. A day with a bad belly.
Yeah, it's over, done with.
Yeah.
A
might be
day
a
with
week with a bad
Bigsby
belly.
could be scarring for life.
Who picked
Andy?
number 3? Who picked that? 3 people picked number 3. That's
Abe.
No, Abe actually outed himself. He said he white bums in a nursing
Oh,
home.
fair enough.
I
fair
thought
enough.
Beg.
He's
I thought
taking care.
Abe was going out.
It
with
was
Beg.
nice. He was going, I'm taking care. So that's it. He was
That
going
is
first.
nice.
But I'm going to end the poll now. So yeah, kebab haggis. Oh, now I do know they do fried Mars bars in Scotland, but a kebab haggis. Anybody in chat, if you can find a kebab haggis anywhere sold in Scotland,
Tell Abe.
tell Abe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Let him
He'll
know.
go across the border. He's probably 2 hours from the border, so there we go. But yeah, yeah. So should we do the wheel? We got
Let's do
Demolition
it.
Man.
Yes, let's do it. I
Let's
think
do
I
it.
have the wheel in me, and then I got to jump to go check on Baby Nerd Takes and Mama
That's
Nerd
good.
Takes. So let's
That's
get this
good.
wheel in.
Okay, so I'm going to do, as we've got the different things, I'm going to shuffle it 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's do this. Oh, I'm just hoping. I hope we do get a another special, but let's find it. Let's do it. Dum, 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 dum.
I hope it's not mine because I'm not ready for special picks yet. Oh, no kidding!
No.
Oh, wow.
No.
All right, Sex and the City it
No.
is.
You guys have
Oh,
no clue. You might
what
have
are
the
the
girliest of
odds?
girliest
What
films
are the
from my
odds?
husband. I'm just saying. Oh my God.
2 in a row for these special picks,
Oh
too. No
my
kidding.
word. Okay.
Now I'm really like, oh, because Jade would be like, oh, I like that movie. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Well, what we're gonna have to do is do a short during the
Mhm.
week and
Oh,
to tell
okay.
everyone what the pick is
Yeah.
gonna be, because I'm gonna have to
Or
explain
we
this to him.
Oh, we could do it. Oh, you haven't explained. It was your idea.
No, I explained it, but I didn't explain that it may actually happen. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she explained the likelihood being
Oh,
so high.
There we go.
we
Oh.
do have to put a few rules down for him. It can't. Yeah, we have to. Yeah, we're gonna have to. Oh is right.
oh,
Yeah.
That's too funny.
This is great though, because we don't actually know what's in the head of our partners.
Yeah,
at the
this could
moment,
be
so
something.
this
No, we
is
don't.
great.
This could be a wild pick.
It's like,
we have no
yeah, but the
idea.
worst thing is they could, like, I hate to say it, we love them all, but they could be right arseholes right now and go, ha, you do that on a Saturday night. I'm gonna make you watch this, and we have to do it. So we got 2 in a row. This
It
is
could
gonna
also
have
be
to
one that's already on the wheel. You
Yeah,
never know.
it could be
So
it could be a great pick. The
Yeah.
range of picks is endless with this.
Yeah.
I
like
have a
this
feeling.
option.
I
This
think
is
I
good.
mentioned this. He also likes like music movies. So it could be like Bohemian Rhapsody
Yeah,
or
I could buy it.
Rocket Man or one of the. He likes those.
If
so
it sounds the music, Dan,
Oh,
Mr.
it won't
Porkchop,
be.
should say he will come back on.
I
He
hope
said
it's
Oh
he'll
my
come
Rocket
God.
back.
Man because I've actually been not dying to, but meaning to watch that movie for a while, and I haven't.
Which
yet,
one?
So, Rocket Man.
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah,
It was pretty good.
I love Elton John. Obviously, his music's fantastic. I think Taron Egerton's super talented. I've been wanting to, and I like a good biopic. I want to watch the Bob Dylan one that just came out too, but I keep forgetting.
He could pick. Oh dear God, he would not pick The Sound of Music, but I know one he would pick Mamma Mia. Oh dear Lord.
Oh God, please,
okay.
please.
I will be on. Okay, I'm gonna have this conversation, and I shall send it to each of you on Discord.
I would rather rip my own scrotum than
we'd get Pierce Brosnan if we got Mamma Mia.
ABBA.
It is true. We get Pierce Brosnan.
Please, but I can't stand ABBA. ABBA.
You know, it's funny you say that because I was just talking to my wife the other day. What was it that came on? Fernando, and I was listening to the song. And I was just like, I don't understand why people hate ABBA so much. And then I immediately was like, well, if I was like in the time of ABBA, I probably would have hated them too.
It never leaves your brain.
On them now, I feel like they're not that bad.
Waterloo! Shut up!
Come on, who doesn't like Dancing Queen?
I like SOS.
Okay,
so
I don't. We had it. Was it last week? We had Eurovision, didn't we? We had
Eurovision.
Yep. Yeah, I have to watch the replay.
Yeah, literally, Eurovision is ABBA. ABBA, all
their
music.
But don't you guys love Eurovision?
Yeah, but only once a year, not an album.
All right. In fairness, I wouldn't say I'd have ABBA on my everyday playlist, but Dancing Queen
everyday
on a wedding.
He's got it on his playlist. He's got it there.
Fernando might have worked its way on there after hearing it the other day. It's been stuck in my head.
I hate that song. I really know. Please, Sandy, just. Please. No, now it's gonna. If I keep saying please, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. When we're done today, I'm gonna go right out there and just say, "Give me the film." Just do it.
Yeah, you can't warn him. You can't give him any hints that we don't want Mamma Mia.
But then he could
just gotta let it fly.
He could go. Yeah, let it go left field. It could completely go something we don't.
Oh, this is fun. I like this.
And Sandy, you cannot influence the pick.
Yeah,
no, that's why I'm just gonna go and ask and say,
just first movie out. That's it.
Yeah. What do you fancy? That's it. If he picks Bros or something, I'm gonna kick him in. I'm gonna come over.
Never know.
I did actually. I worst thing is because I had the action one. I was like, I really want to. This is a good one. I want to watch it. And then for this week, my head just began. Oh, should have done that. Oh, I should have picked this. Oh, it's so annoying.
I want to sit down and think about a few so that I'm ready when the time comes.
I had two, but it jumped into my head and I went for it. But now I'm like, I should have done that. That's it. But yeah, now it's out of our hands. And lucky enough, the best thing that didn't happen though, it still didn't come up with Chat's pick,
which is a good thing. Which is a good thing.
It is a good thing. Yeah, especially so Chat's pick is going to be horrendous. That's it. So it's going to be that time people out. You're the mods time everybody out. That's it. But yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that was fun. That's going to be fun though. Going to be fun. But yeah,
I'm scared now. Man. I still want to be your friend.
I can't wait to hear what the pick is.
It was your.
Okay, it was my idea. I know. I'm not smart.
For all I know, this could be a great pick, but Sandy's hesitation in her own husband's pick is what's making me laugh right now. I can't wait to see what it is.
See, I trust Jade. I do trust her to go, you know what? I'm going to be sensible. This is what you should have, because it'd be a talking matter. Yeah. Jay, are you confident if it comes up?
Oh, I'm positive. I know that my wife is going to be sleeping with the enemy. I'm telling you right now, that's going to be it. It's the movie her and her best friend watch all the time. That's 100% going to be it.
No, Sandy. So you're all chat. Sandy's to blame. It was her idea. There we go. That's all I have to say.
I'm texting him now. I'm not giving him any time to think about it. Do it now.
But that's great. But at least but you can do a week. You got a week till next Demolition Man. That would be good.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true too. We could always announce what it is.
We can reveal it next week. So he's got pressure for next week. He has homework. There you go. So he can't be feel bad. There we go. Very good. But yeah, chat. I really hope you really enjoyed a good Trainspotting. That was a good conversation. I must say that was a good conversation. Bit. I enjoyed watching the movie. Unfortunately, in that sense, for Film Club, that's good. But yeah, it's been good. Jay, great to have you as always. I know times are busy. Are you gonna try? streaming? Or are you
I'm
still, is
back
it
to
taken?
work this week, so I finally
Okay.
feel like we're settling into some real schedules, especially with bedtime. So maybe some kind of tiptoeing back into the world of streaming and videos this week. I'm
Well,
hoping.
can I recommend one thing?
Mhm.
Can you do Spider-Man? Because my kids.
I am
missing
that would be what I play. That
Yes.
would 100% be what I play when I
Yes.
do pick it
There
up,
you
because
go.
I have to finish that play.
Chat, if you missed last week, my kid thinks Jay is Peter Parker. Peter Parker is Spider-Man because he watched Jay play Spider-Man and he was obsessed now.
That's awesome.
My best friend is like, is your best, he's like that, your best friend's Peter Parker, isn't it? And I'm like because we have to say, like, explain to him, oh, I'm going to work because I can't do the whole bedtime, so I read the early bedtime story, but I can't do the whole thing. And he's like, you can go see your best friend Peter Parker. I was like,
That's too cute.
so yeah, so that's good. I was like, yep. And I just get, yes, I am. Yes, I am. And he's like, do you want to say something to him? Yeah, he goes, oh, we need, some streaming. So there we go. That's great.
That's awesome.
And it was a
It's
birthday.
great.
And he had a birthday.
Yes, birthday. Yes,
Happy birthday to the little one.
That's it. Yeah, me and Applesauce, my little one, and Applesauce has the same birthday. So yeah, and
Really?
it was changing. Yeah, 29th.
No kidding.
Yeah, so yeah, we had that. So yeah, changing of the color as well. In military terms as well. Same day. But yeah, so that's it. And we got
happy
now.
birthday to Applesauce as well if he happens to see the stream.
Yeah, and so yeah,
Not for this film, I hope.
and-
Yeah, I hope not.
Any other
I hope
film?
not, Dan. Don't let him watch this one.
You watch
No,
A League of
no.
Their Own. That's a good
It was
one.
funny, like we were talking to me and Mr. Pork Chop there, and we were doing near enough the same things, but in different counties. I was like,
Aw.
that was quite kind of cute. That's it. But yeah, but we now have to halve half a cup of coffee because I did the lottery. It was 185 million, and I won £2.60.
Ooh,
Hey,
good
there
for
you
you.
go.
Congratulations.
So I
Better than
said
winning nothing.
we're split. I said I'll split it with Dan. So we'd do a half a cup of coffee each.
Aw.
That was it. So, but yeah, bless him. But yeah, I know. But tomorrow, yeah, doing party. I'm doing party. But I must say, I've taken the week off. So I've had a film club. It's just getting ready for my kid.
Nice.
So I've taken it off. But
That's
so
fun.
next week, hopefully, I can get back on to doing things. So yeah, we did Thomas the Tank Engine and something else, Abel. So yeah, Thomas the Tank Engine, awesome. So you just get it stuck in the head. You just get Thomas the Tank Engine stuck in the head. So yeah, we did that. And then birthday thing. So he's got everybody come around for
dear
birthday
God.
treats tonight. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
So
My husband
No.
has made his recommendation.
do you want to put the number in so I can get a poster? Is this
And put it in
In?
the private chat.
is it solid?
I
Breaking
don't think
news,
so.
people.
You might not
Oh.
think it's terrible.
No, but this is it.
This is it.
No change.
No change.
All right, guys, I've not watched the private chat. Jay's about to see it. I'm gonna see Jay. Is it bad? All right, I'm gonna get the poster up. Oh, okay.
It's not horrible.
Oh, this is okay.
Jay, I put it in private chat. Reaction?
Oh,
Okay.
no, that's fine. That's actually good comedy. I like that one.
Okay, good.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
that's good.
And we
let me
needed
just-
some comedy, by the way.
That was a left field pick and a great
Yeah,
one,
that-
honestly. I actually really love that
I
movie.
wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah,
Chat,
comedy's a nice change
any
of pace
guesses?
after some
Any
of what
guesses?
we've been
We've got-
watching, too.
When's this out? What year? Let's go for year.
04-ish, maybe a little earlier, or a year later.
Yeah, it's like it is 2001. Let me just chat. This is so we're doing demolition. We've got then we're going. Would you say full cheese?
Full cheese.
Yeah, it's like
3/4 cheese.
it's like rom-com, but less of a rom-com than most of
Yeah,
them.
I do like Owen Wilson.
Yeah, it's great. I love this.
So we're watching Red. I haven't watched this for years.
Oh God, been ages.
And Christopher
is in this.
Walken is in it.
Oh yes,
Hey.
he is. Yeah.
No, this is
Okay.
I'm
not-
happy
okay.
with this choice. This is great.
Isn't it? I must say,
Mr. Q did a
I
good
almost don't know
job.
what to say. I'm a little
It
shocked.
got worse.
And not that I didn't have faith in Mr. Q, but Sandy seemed to have no faith in Mr. Q, so I was
Yeah.
a little worried.
Do you know
I
your
can't wait
husband?
to
Do
tell
you
him
know
that.
your husband? Yeah. There we go. So Demolition Man and then Wedding Crushers. Okay.
Yeah, we go Trainspotting, Demolition Man, Wedding Crashers.
There we go.
What a 3 in a row.
There we go. So this is definitely our first Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think maybe Vince Vaughn maybe
trying to
been
think
in
if
one.
because sometimes he does dramas. Did he
Yeah,
pop
he
in
does.
anything?
Yeah.
I don't think.
No,
I've
but
seen him.
Andy, have you fixed out your Excel sheet?
I haven't added everything, but I added all the blank. I added all the columns though, so I just
Yeah,
need to
did
take time to fill
There
it
we
in.
go. So
We have
chat,
Owen Wilson
have
on
it.
the list on another film
What's that?
that I put on the list, and that is Night at the Museum.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
yes,
Plays
yes.
Jedediah.
Ah, and there we
So,
go.
Hey,
we
why
go.
not? I will make sure
There
I
we go.
I
A little
Hey,
bit of fun.
AWOL, can you have Mr. Sandy's email for the purposes of bribery? Hey, AWOL, you get your own chance. I think sooner rather than later, okay? I think it's coming. I think chat pick is coming, so I hope you're all
Oh,
thinking about it. Abe,
yeah.
300 would be fine.
Yeah, 300's a good one.
But I have a feeling that's not going to be your pick. I have a feeling you've been doing research for weeks now.
Oh, Abe's
Find a weird one.
Abe's Googled multiple times movies that will screw people over.
Movies that will hurt your head. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, at least people like I don't know. What's the sequel to 300? What's it called?
God, 300, and then some tagline that I forget.
Oh,
I never watched it. I don't remember who did it because it wasn't Zack Snyder.
Yeah, but it's good for Eva Green.
Oh, that's right. She is in that.
Rise of Empire.
Yeah, right. Rise of Empire.
Yeah, she's in that. And then her clothes aren't in that.
Lena Headey's in that. I always call her Lena Headey.
Yeah, she was.
Lena
I always say
Headey.
Headley too. Is it Headey? I always thought
It's
it was
Headey. I always think Headley. It's
put an
Headey.
L in there somewhere.
Seriously, just call her
from Dread. From Dread.
Yeah, because she was. She was in Dread. That's right. I was surprised to see her when I saw that. She was Leonidas's wife, I believe. Right? I think.
Yeah, Queen.
Okay, so we don't get 300. We get Wedding Crashers. That's it. Oh, that's
hey, I'll honestly take Wedding Crashers. I really,
I would take it.
I haven't watched it in years, but I remember thinking it was hilarious.
I would take it after what Sandy said. We
it could have been Mamma Mia, right? It could have been Mamma Mia.
We might as well have gotten Godfather.
I was expecting something. Oh, that's
he just texted. Should I pick another one? Something more classic? No, it's.
I mean, honestly,
he thinks we're very highbrow. By the way,
no,
he thinks we're very highbrow.
We did Inner Space or whatever the hell that movie was called. We're not that high.
We did Critters.
Critters is a classic.
I would honestly, at least for like people my generation, I would say a lot of people put Wedding Crashers as a classic comedy. That was like a really popular movie for myself.
It was 2001.
Yeah, like that was a super popular.
Yeah, but that's when Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn.
Dodgeball came out around that time. Owen Wilson was doing his stuff too. Zoolander, all that. You know, the early 2000s.
Zoolander makes me laugh. I watch that every time. That makes me laugh.
That's funny. That's a good steal. That's a good steal.
Exactly.
I love those movies. Again, I haven't watched them a ton since I was in that era, so I'm not exactly sure how the comedy holds up. Because like one person, for example, that I've gotten sick to death of their comedy that I know is in that movie is Will Ferrell, and I'm sure his role will still make me laugh, but his comedy I've definitely gotten sick of over the years.
Is this the one where he gets the drug?
No, that is the college one. God, what's it called? Old School. That's the old school.
That is.
Who's got? I think Luke Wilson, Wilson's brother. There is actually in that one.
Yeah,
and Vince Vaughn
Stifler.
again,
and Stifler.
Yeah. Stifler's the one with the dark done.
I always forget. I apologize for the actor. You will always be known as Stifler.
Yeah,
everybody. Yeah. But
it's like not the worst thing in the world. He could be known for less.
Yeah, exactly. But Sandy, except for getting us near enough to have a heart attack, it works out okay.
It worked out okay.
It worked out okay. What you got? You got another?
What I got going on? Probably another tour tomorrow morning with someone that we all know, who's going to be in Washington, D.C. This morning was crazy. It started out with this weird, wild storm. And then when I went out to do my I just stayed close to home and did a little Baltimore tour. I had like 75 people on the live chat. Abe, it was crazy this morning. And I couldn't stop streaming because I had so many people. I ended up with 4,000 views to my live stream this morning, which was just which was just nutty. But I have a
Sorry,
number
Sandy.
of videos that I've been putting together.
Sorry, Sandy. What meat are you smoking?
That's an American thing. Putting meat on the smoker.
I know.
Oh, hey, Ashley, awesome. Oh, I bet that sounds good. So yeah, so just doing and now trying to put together actual real videos with some of the historic places I've been. So having a great old time. What's up with you?
What time are you going to start? You thinking your little walk tomorrow?
I don't know. That is way up in the air right now. So yeah.
It might happen, it might not happen, but you will be walking.
I will be walking. I may not be streaming, but I will be walking.
There we go. Okay. For myself, me and Sandy are addicted to something, aren't we, Sandy? Not drugs.
I'm going to do it right after this. Yes, right after we're done, I'll be right back in that game, and it's The Front.
I was just, Stasis had just messaged me about that. I don't remember if it was after last week or not. And I just saw the message again, and I was going to go check Steam after this to download that.
Oh, it's so good.
I think
it looks good. I finally got a chance to watch the trailer. It looked great.
We haven't started doing like the big purge runs or anything yet. So if you want to jump in, this is the time to, you'll have time to level up.
Yeah. We're getting up to that. And we need Viper. Viper, if you listen or you rewatch
we need the electronics Viper.
Viper does it. How he does it, it makes it all neat and tidy, but he does it in the right way. And you're like, appreciate that.
Compared to my electronics, which
it's so
probably drive both of you insane because they look a mess. All the wires go everywhere.
I think I've done well at the new base, but
you have. It's symmetrical. So,
but I will do a live. I will do a live stream of that. Yeah,
you need to
show me. And then I've got again. So busy at the moment, real life like that. But yeah, I'm going to do some more streaming. But otherwise, film club's always good. Always Saturday, unless we move it. Then it might be Sunday, it might be Friday, but that's it. But yeah, apart from that, it's all a bit of fun.
What would be your next list of recommendations?
What do you mean?
What have you not done? Like we did war films. What would be your next? What haven't you done?
Sci-fi
category. You got to do your sci-fi then. Then we're waiting for that, James. Come on.
Yes, I will do. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm going to have to up it. I think because I've done 10, what you need, I might up it a little bit because it's my jam. Let's say that. So I'll do that. But yeah, but
50.
I will do. I'm
50 then.
I could easily do. I could easily do. The worst thing because I kept on going like, I love that film. And then I went, what about that from the 40s? What about that, like the 30s? And then I was, I really love that, like invasion, one of the invasions of like, or like from the Body Snatchers. Which one do you pick? Like that. I watched The Thing last night. I was like, this is a great movie, so it's like, what do you put on? So yeah, sci-fi movie is just like, it's so, but yeah, I'll have to do it. I have to do a live one so everybody can go, what about this? And I went, I forgot about that. So
yep.
That's it. But yeah, but I'm still enjoying Battlestar at the moment. So I'm
yay
watching that.
By your command.
So, yes, indeed. But everybody, I hope you really Mars Attacks. See, look, I'm going to that. Mars Attacks really funny. Damn you, bend over. Damn you to hell.
Yeah. All right. Am I crazy in thinking Pierce Brosnan was in Mars Attacks?
Yes, he is.
He was, right? Okay. Yeah. For a second, I'm like, he was in it. And then I'm like, is that really on his filmography?
His head gets decapitated, doesn't he? Gets put on a dog. I think that's him, isn't it?
Makes me want to go watch a Pierce Brosnan
and with
film.
with Sarah Jessica Parker out of
there you go.
There you go.
Sex and the City. There you go. It all goes full circle.
All comes around.
And who said she didn't have range?
But everybody, I hope you've had a good one. I'm off to now cure some meat and also get back on the front. But I really hope you've had a lovely time with Film Club again, with Trainspotting. I've enjoyed today. I really have. That's it. But Jay, enjoy a nappy change.
Yes, Sandy. I'm due to, not for myself, everyone, for the
baby. yeah. Just to make that.
Just so you know, I'm not just sitting here on Nerd Takes on Film Club.
I had an accident. Didn't want to say anything. We all heard the noise.
Yeah, there was a spud over here. What are you gonna do?
But Sandy, I will see you soon in the front. Very, very soon. And everybody, have a great rest of the weekend. fingers crossed for me. I have a 4-year-old's birthday party tomorrow.
Yay!
Fingers crossed and a
All the
prayer
best.
going your way.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. It's exhausting. And then you go, oh,
It's
what just
over.
happened? It's over. I hope I'm great. But everybody, have a great one. And we'll see you for Demolition Man, at least for next week. And then, lucky enough, the Wedding Crashers.
Wedding
So,
Crashers.
there we go.
It's wedding season too. It'll be June. It's wedding
Oh, yeah,
season.
it would be. Yeah, there we go. All right, everybody, have a great one. And we'll see you in the next film club. Bye for now.
Bye.